The 93X Half-Ass Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning.
We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
Choices we got in life, those were your choices. Who shot who? Somebody got shot?
Lo, you good, Lo?
I hope. Y'all good?
Oh, there on the dirty third, one-on-one with Mike D. I thought my shot me.
Everybody good?
Damn, everybody good?
I hope.
Everybody good?
I'm good. I'm
Everyone's
good.
Okay.
I remember that guy, the guy who shot himself at a gun safety course.
No, that's a different guy.
Oh, who's that guy?
That audio's great, too. This just happened.
Oh, this just happened.
A Texas rapper named Tulo accidentally fired his gun in the middle of a podcast interview. And, boy, they handled that well.
Yeah, they did.
Did he hit himself?
He reached in his pocket and it went off. I don't know if he got hit or not. It doesn't sound... Nobody got hurt, so no. I take that back.
Oh, wow. The audio is so astonishingly similar to the audio from 10, 15 years ago where a dude is teaching a gun safety course and shoots himself in the ass or something, right?
That was great, especially he's talking about, you can't mess around with this stuff, but bang!
You're talking about a rapper by the name of Tulo.
Tulo, yeah. He's going through some tough times.
Well, I hope he's okay.
Can't say I'm familiar with his music.
Live on his podcast.
I can't say anybody's familiar with his music.
This might be the biggest thing that happened in his career.
It was all planned.
It could have been. Who knows?
Yeah.
Get some publicity.
He pulled a Plastico Burris. Well, that is concerning. I had not heard of that. Welcome, folks. I think we're all set. Locked in to a Tuesday broadcast. Welcome to the 93X Half-Ass Morning Show.
So I got the clip you were talking about the gun instructor who shoots himself by accident in a demonstration.
50 Cent, Too Short, all of them talk about Glock 40. Okay, I'm the only one in this room professional enough that I know of to carry this Glock 40. I'm the only one. No, all right. Is everybody all right? You all right? Yeah, I'm here. Listen up, guys. And I made a mistake. So listen to me. See that how the accident happened? It can happen to you, and you can be blown away. Okay? So guys, never play with guns.
He's the only one professional enough. That was perfect. It kind of reminds me, not as dramatic, but a buddy of mine, he owns a business, and he took a couple of his employees out to lunch because they were really slacking. And he just said, guys, we got to pull it together, right? This is a business. You got to figure your stuff out. You're irresponsible. And then they're getting gas on the way back home, and apparently this tow truck shows up, comes right up to my friend, and he impounds his car because he forgot to pay his auto loan for like half a year.
Right in front of the
right
rest
in
of
front
his...
of the people he just got done saying you got to be more responsible.
Well,
Be a little bit more like me, be responsible. And his employees got to watch their boss's car be impounded.
Right. Moments after getting reamed out by him.
I came about as close as a kid should ever come to shooting himself when I was about a 12-year-old kid. We were up in Bagley, Minnesota. God's country, I'll tell you right now. Me and my brother and a couple other young kids, and then, of course, our dad and a handful of other hillbillies. And they allowed us to bust out some guns and do some target practice there at this cabin, middle of nowheres. And somebody busted out a handgun, and we were firing at beer cans and things like that.
fun.
Yeah. The old boys were doing their best to keep an eye on us, but at the same time, they weren't exactly the most attentive parents of all time, but they were well aware of what we kids were doing. They were the ones who said, okay, try this, try this. They're trying to get us into hunting and things like that. I was not worth Dick Tracy with a shotgun. But when they busted out that handgun, and I don't recall what it was, but I had a knack to it with that handgun. I was showing up my brother and whatnot, who was a pretty good shot. So suddenly, this little round of target practice, which at first I was like, man, I suck at this. Suddenly, when they busted out this handgun, I was friggin', give me an old cowboy hero, Josh. I was Two Guns McGee. I was Dirty Harry. Doc Holliday, Dirty Harry, sure. And but I got a little too cocky. And
that's what happens.
Yep, I cracked. I was a 12-year-old kid. I cracked off a round, bling, knocks over a beer bottle. Next time, bloom, blew away a beer can. And I guess I thought more people should be paying attention to my sharpshooting because after I fired, I brought the gun down to my side like I was told. And I was hollering at my dad, hey, are you seeing this over here? I just hit a boom!
Oh, my gosh, you kept your finger on the trigger.
And they warned us, whatever this handgun was. They did. I remember specifically, they warned us. This pig's got a hair trigger, kid. Don't get cute. But I'm over here hollering at my dad to watch me. Bloom! The sumbitch goes off. I look. I mean, that bullet, it missed my big toe, by a fraction of a. And I put the damn thing down, and I said, I think that's it for me. It scared the hell out of me.
You start sweating and shaking. You're like, boy.
It scared the hell out of me because I was a kid and we were so far from a hospital.
No.
So far from and I thought, if I air hole myself, I mean, as a 12-year-old kid, I thought, I'll just bleed to death here in the woods. So I never...
That's so scary.
Never got back after it again.
So all the times that I've nearly totally eviscerated myself or been in some serious trouble is when I got too cocky doing something I wasn't qualified to do. Same exact thing where you have a couple moments where you think, wow, that was pretty good. And then you get more and more cocky and that's it. Almost cut my leg off. I nearly died on a skateboard. I broke my knee snowboarding. First time I ever went snowboarding. Got cocky, started taking jumps.
Oh, no.
And that was it. On crutches for most of a winter.
YOLO, you were thinking.
Well, this was pre-YOLO days.
Yeah,
but yeah.
You were the originator of YOLO.
If we're looking back, we could say, with today's lenses, we could say YOLO.
It's only natural, Josh.
Yeah, when you're a young guy.
You land a couple of skateboard moves, you land a couple of snowboard moves, and you think, well, I got this nailed, and next thing you know, you're in the emergency room.
Especially if a couple babes are around.
Yeah, I remember.
There's always babes around.
3 of my buddies, they were snowboarding for like ski club or something. First one goes down the hill, tries a backflip, breaks his arm. Second one goes down the hill, tries a backflip, breaks his arm. What did the third one do? Goes down the hill, tries a backflip, breaks his arm.
What a bunch of dumbasses.
Here's a long-time listener, Beard Jesus. Yes, thank you for reminding me. I got cocky on a Segway and I crashed into my car. Whoa. I forgot about that, too. In front of a whole group of people.
Also,
typical boys.
Also only natural to get a little full of yourself when you're riding on a Segway.
That was fun.
Nothing screams pure bad boy like a guy in a Segway.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Those guys know how to have some fun on those things.
I've never been on one.
I always wanted.
It's fun.
Oh, it's a blast.
It's one of those things that once I learned about them, I thought, that's not made for somebody like me. I would really seriously injure myself on a Segway.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to try one yet, but I've always wanted to.
Oh, and it's easier than you think it's going to be. I mean, until you get cocky and you crash into your car.
When did that bust out? When did the Segway bust out?
Boy, when it first started, I couldn't tell you. I mean, this was early 2000s when the crash happened.
Oh, yeah. I would have thought it was...
Maybe 2004 or 5 when I did it. And I have no idea how... I mean, they were popular at the time, or maybe not popular is the right word.
I'm surprised that it's
in the news a lot.
Surprised that it's been that long.
It looks like customers were able to buy them in 2002.
Yeah, and this was a business that owned this, and that was kind of like they'd go out to parades and stuff, and they're like, hey, and I even said ahead of time, I probably shouldn't do I have no experience. This is an expensive machine. You guys use this for work. I shouldn't be on it. And they let me, and I thought, wow, this is so much easier and so much fun. And I put it on the fast mode, swerving in and out of cars, and I crashed right into the side of my own.
At least it's your own car.
Well, technically, it was owned by Walser Mazda. And I was driving it at the time. And they asked me what happened, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. I crashed a Segway into it. How am I supposed to know what happened? I was in a parking lot. All of a sudden, there's this big dent on it.
I'm happy for you that you got a chance to ride one, for Christ's sake, because, like
It's
I said,
fun.
I've never had the opportunity. Segways are 25 years old now. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The original toolmaker, Jesus, said, what about the time I crashed a motorcycle while watching some Washburn High School cheerleaders when I was in high school? That's a little different. I wasn't being cocky. I was just completely distracted on a road I knew was very windy.
Right.
And I crashed right into a curb, almost hit a tree. Luckily, I was going very slow.
Chicks, man.
You got to check out the Fly Honeys.
You know, we're just getting back into the mix here after a pile of days off, you know, for the holiday season. I was just reading something, and now that we brought up the Segway, it kind of plays itself perfectly here together. I was just reading something that made me think we should have worked over Christmas. We should have saved our days off until this week. We could have hit an event, Josh, out in Las Vegas. It begins this week. It's not the Porno Movie Awards, although when I was a younger man, I would have enjoyed being in attendance for the Porno Movie Awards. What do they call it? The AVN Awards?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
I would have just, when I was a younger man, didn't we have conversations about possibly going out there with the radio station?
Our boss said it every year.
Yep.
We're going to send you
Of
out there. We
course.
really want you out there, and it never happened.
Many years ago, before they even invented the Segway, we used to have conversations about, let's go do a party, a radio station party at the AVN Awards, the Adult Video News Porno Movie Award. I just thought it would be fascinating to be walking around the hallway of my hotel and say, was that Rocco Siffredi right there? Was that Rocco?
Oh, that'd be so crazy.
What was that? Was that
Is that Angela White?
Debbie Diamond? Well, Angela White was a 1-year-old, I think. But anyway, what I'm talking here, something that I should take you to someday. I should take my life partner, Josh, to someday.
Always wanted to go.
They call it the Consumer Electronics Show.
Yeah, CES. and it's this annual huge event, all the newest technology. I was just reading a couple articles locally that were published. I think maybe CCO and Star Tribune had something yesterday about bunch of Minnesota companies out there showing off some of their tech.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some of those. I love those conventions. You know, I go to ones here. I love looking at that kind of stuff.
You do.
CES, NAMM, I think it's called, the one for musicians with all that kind of electronics. There's one for broadcasting, which I have no interest in, but there's plenty of other ones that seem really cool.
Really? There's a convention that shows off new broadcasting equipment?
There's a couple. Well, there's the huge Conclave here. Which is huge.
Conclave. I never bothered
Huge
with.
For radio people.
Does that still happen?
Yeah, there's a few podcast
Really?
ones.
Who would bother? You and I someday, I'm buying. On me, Cubby. We'll go out to the Consumer Electronics Show because I do remember you saying in the past that this is an event you'd like to see live. And of course, I know, and anyone who listens to this show knows how dialed in you are to techie things. So I imagine 25 years ago might have been the Consumer Electronics Show 25 years ago might have been where folks first got their look at the Segway we were just talking about. So here's the story. Terrific new products and some strange ones, of course. So a couple articles have cut loose here on some of the weirder gadgets they have at this year's big fat-ass Consumer Electronics Show. And I got to tell you, a couple of these things sound like a lot of fun. And as you know, I'm the least techie guy in the county, but some of this stuff sounds like a lot of fun. They have, how do you call it, invented, and it's being shown off this week at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas. They've invented a robot vacuum with arms.
Oh, I want it.
And it'll pick up your dirty socks and dirty drawers up off the floor for you.
I need that.
That is so awesome.
Do you leave your drawers laying around on the floor?
No, I don't. I'm not a monster. But for whatever reason, my son and my wife, they just throw socks.
Yeah, my socks are all over the house.
I'll see them sitting on the couch or laying in bed. They take off socks and just throw them. So I'm picking up socks constantly.
That pisses me off.
And I find them like under nightstands, in weird places, and in a plant. I mean, they just chuck them. And I think they assume a magical sock monkey is running around picking these things up and throwing them in the hamper.
I have the same problem with my wife. She's reckless with her friggin' socks. There's socks all over the stinking house. Pick up your stupid socks and put them in the laundry or whatever. And then the damn dog, adorable as she is, God bless little Gertie, but she then picks them up with her stupid little yap and runs them up. She'll pick up the wife's dirty socks, run them all over the house, stash them in corners. I would like this robot. It's got arms. It's like a Roomba, they say, but it's got one arm, and it'll pick up the stuff that you drop on the floor. I'm sorry you have to deal with that kind of thing, Josh, because you know that's the kind of stuff that gets my blood pressure skyrocketing.
Well, it's almost to the point where it's impressive, where I turn around and there's another sock that I have no idea how it got there.
Yeah. Maybe you own this many socks.
Maybe you should stop picking them up until they start noticing, okay, there's 30 pairs of socks in the living room.
Yeah, but then there'll be 35 pairs of socks and then 40 pairs of socks.
Oh, really?
They're
It's no fixing it?
You live with slobs. I can relate. A company called Roborock. They made the new robot with an arm on it. They're talking about how once this thing finally goes up for sale, it'll be over $1,000. But that won't last forever. You know how that stuff works. It can pick up small items that weigh less than 11 ounces. Well, you'd think, I don't know, that seems kind of chintzy to me.
We take a couple sips out of a beer and there you go.
It could pick up your beer for you?
Beer can or something.
I just, and again, I know nothing about technology, but look at some of the amazing things we have going on right now. We have self-driving cars and all these things. I would think that we can create a robot that could pick up a bowling ball if we wanted it to, at this point, but it says this thing can only pick up 11 ounces. Whatever, I'll get over it. There's electric rollerblades out there.
Oh, I'd kill myself on those.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would kill themselves on those.
Of course you would. You wear a battery around your waist like a belt. You put on a set of those rollerblades, and you can control the speed with a remote. Top speed on the new electric rollerblades, 88 miles an hour.
Hello, concussion.
Wow.
No, I'm
my
kidding.
gosh.
It's 18 miles an hour.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess, it's just like hoverboards.
Imagine some hippie just whipping down the freeway going 80 on a set of electric rollerblades. Well, 18 is as fast as
the wheels are huge on these things, and you kind of look like a dork with the pack around your waist.
The one wheel and the electric skateboard, they can get up to 25 miles per hour.
I've done one of those one wheels before.
Well, the rollerblades are getting there. They're only at 18 at this point. $800 for the electric rollerblades. Sounds like fun. Yeah, most of us would likely end up in the hospital, but it might be worth it. I got that electric scooter, and it tops out around 25. I haven't mangled myself yet. I know it's coming. It's coming. My time will come, but I really dig riding around my neighborhood in that friggin' electric scooter. I dig it. I imagine I'd love electric rollerblades. What do we got here? This one I don't understand at all. Again, we're rolling through new, exciting, techie items being shown off this week in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Consumer Electronics Show. An electric salt spoon. Okay, so when I first read that, like most of you might be thinking right now, it's something that scoops up salt, like a spoon that scoops up salt, and it'll then put the salt on top of your whatever you're eating. No, that's not it. An electric salt spoon, this is how it works. A weak current of electricity hits your tongue and makes stuff taste saltier than it really is.
Oh, I would be all about this.
Yeah,
People are
that'd be
always
sweet.
on my butt about how much salt I eat.
I get a lot of crap for that, too, but I had a doctor tell me it's better to have too much than too little. So
I bring that up to everybody, Josh.
I've been going with it. And you know what? If you saw what this spoon looked like, you think I want high blood pressure over this.
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like?
It looks like a giant electric toothbrush. It's huge.
It's massive.
Oh, no.
So you scoop your meal into your yapper with the spoon.
Just like a regular spoon, but it's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
And
You need two
somehow,
hands for this thing.
Yeah, it's got a light on it. Come on.
So this is a way of getting a salty taste, and here come the text messages, 651-989-9393. This is a way of getting a salty taste in your mouth without actually adding real salt?
Supposedly.
Okay.
And I wonder how much electricity is going through this thing, because the guy that's eating it, and maybe it's nerves being on camera, is shaking like crazy. So I don't know if he's in the process of being electrocuted or it's nerves of being on camera.
They'll also sell you, what will they sell you at the Consumer Electronics Show? A table that walks around the house for you. A table with working legs. It's called the Mimo, or it could be the Mimo, and it walks around. It looks like, the prototype they say here, looks like a small table, I don't know what this means, with a Pixar lamp on it.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Cute.
Do you care to explain that to me, or is it not necessary?
Well, that's about as explanatory as you can get. I mean, I'll show you their logo. You know, well, I guess, do you know what Pixar is?
No, I don't.
Like Disney's one of their animation.
Okay.
Yeah, and they got this
branches.
little lamp that jumps around in the beginning and says Pixar.
I'll have to look it up. So it's a table that walks around your house, and it's got a lamp on it, and it will talk to you.
Oh, that's nice.
It is?
How lonely do you got to be to want to talk to the table?
I don't know. It would be nice to have somebody respond.
Put
to
your
my...
feet on me, a-hole, and see what happens.
Yeah.
I can't think of one reason why I would buy a table that walks around the house for me. I mean, I can understand the draw to the electric rollerblades or the robot vacuum that's got arms and it'll pick up my dirty underwears. I can't understand why I would be interested in a table that... a stringless guitar... Now, this is something I'm really, really interested in. Not this specific item, but I've always wanted to learn how to play the guitar, and I've tried, and terrible. I can't figure it out, but using the word finger is maybe fitting because that's where I have my greatest difficulty in learning to play the guitar is the dexterity of my fingers just don't allow me to, you know what I mean? It's very frustrating, Josh. Yep. I would love to be able to
Just got to take some reps. You could do it.
I don't know. I just don't think I was built for it. But anyway,
I think you'd be fine.
The stringless guitar, I've wanted something like this, where without the skill set to be able to sound like I know how to play the guitar. Now, unfortunately, when reading this article, people say it's really lame. They say it's just like a karaoke machine. I guess I'd have to see it. It's an adult version of the push-button guitars you see for little kids. For $500, you can feel like you're playing guitar without actually playing guitar. But the little side note I read here is it's stupid.
It does like kind of look dumb.
Yeah, it looks like a new age Guitar Hero guitar.
Okay, I don't really care what it looks like.
I mean, you'd probably want it to look like a real guitar.
I suppose.
People would assume, wow, this guy can shred.
I'd have to see it and hear it.
Otherwise, it's just like you're bringing around a boom box and pretending to play on it. That seems weird.
Yeah, I think you'd probably look like a dork if you pulled one of these out.
Yeah, maybe one day they'll come up with I just want to be able to push some buttons on a what do you call the long part of the guitar, Josh? Neck. I want to be able to push some buttons on that guitar neck, and I want a wide variety of. It's just a pipe dream. It doesn't matter. This is just a liquor talking.
They make a guitar that has I can't remember the name, but it's got lights on the fretboard.
I've seen it.
And I bought one for my son, thinking maybe he'd want to learn, and he has no interest.
Oh, well, send it my way.
I gave it away to a different kid. A more appreciative, much better looking, and actually a better athlete, this particular kid. Kind of wish he was my kid. But anyways, I digress. But it has these, you could play like a bunch of songs. You learn how to play it.
Stringless guitar. Maybe one day I'll find what I'm looking for, but maybe that's not.
Fretlight? Is that the name of the...
Maybe what I'm looking for is beyond what's possible. Finally, as far as the oddball items for sale at the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, this sounds kind of cute. A tiny robot that hangs on the side of your coffee mug and will blow on your drink to cool it down.
It is very cute.
Oh, I want this.
They call it the foo-foo. All right, it looks like a cat, and like I said, it sets on the side of your coffee mug or your soup bowl, and it will blow on your drinky to cool it the hell down for you. $25.
Oh, that's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
Unfortunately, though, a lot of these you can only get like in Japan.
Yeah.
Or something.
That's how they get you.
This is one.
Well,
that would be
road trip.
That'd be a perfect white elephant gift or something like that.
Oh, yeah, it would.
I get my balls busted by the wife a lot for how thoroughly I blow upon my food to cool it down before I put it in my arrogant yapper.
I could see that getting to me.
I almost never do. I never learn.
She will just attack just the hottest plate. I like to cool that action down a little bit, so.
My wife's like that. With anything she eats or anything she touches.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think she even needs an oven mitt. You gotta,
Yeah.
she'll just pull that thing right out.
I don't mind a lukewarm meal.
Oh, gosh, no.
Ooh,
I get mad when my boyfriend doesn't heat his food up to, like, a degree that would make sense for me. It just
Why
irks
is it
me.
your
You'd
business?
you'd never eat like ravioli out of a can or something like that?
Absolutely not. He makes fun of me quite a bit because I will cook dinner. It will be out of the oven for maybe 5 seconds, and I'll throw it in the microwave again for 30 seconds because I want it to be as hot as possible.
Okay, yeah, I go the other way, so I get yelled at. Well, not yelled at. I get looked at funny for the amount of blowing.
Just, oh gosh, that would probably annoy me eventually.
Yeah,
Just every bite.
Oh, yeah. Every friggin' meal we share together, the wife and I, she has some smart-ass comment. But I don't want to burn the roof of my mouth.
It's kind of adorable.
Yeah, I'm a cute person like that. Real quick, before we move on, I wanted to say thank you to a listener, Mosh Crusher Jesus. Mosh Crusher Jesus, who sent me a nice little gift. And Josh and I both checked it out this morning before we went on the air skis. What do they call it again? A cameo. Mm-hmm. And my God, you spent money on me. That was totally unnecessary, but thanks. Mosh Crusher Jesus bought me a cameo from a guy. If you know how cameos work, you contact a celebrity, give them some money, and that celebrity will send you or someone you know a little message, a video. So the other day I received a cameo from Johnny Brennan, one of the original members of the Jerky Boys. And Mosh Crusher Jesus in his email to me mentioned, he's a listener and digs the show. Appreciate that. But he's heard us over the years. Josh and I go back and forth with our Jerky Boys quotes and whatnot from 35 years ago.
Those guys meant so much to me. Oh, my gosh. I loved listening to their tapes back in the day.
They were a friggin' phenomenon.
Oh, me, my brother, and my cousin would sit. We shared a room. Thanks, Mom and Dad. We'd sit in the corner of our room and just listen to these guys over and over and over.
We were obsessed as well. When I was fresh out of high school, the Jerky Boys hit town, however you want to say it. Their albums took off in popularity, and we listened to them all the time. And then, of course, would sit up all night mimicking them, prank phone calling everyone in town,
I wonder
trying
how
to
many
do our
prank
best.
phone calls they're responsible for, meaning their influence on our generation.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's all we wanted to do after listening to those guys.
I had my imitation of Frank Rizzo. I had my imitation of Saul Rosenberg. I had them all. I was a big Jerky Boys fan. And Johnny Brennan, thanks to Mosh Crusher Jesus, sent me a cameo, and he rolled through all the characters. It was a fun thing.
I'm assuming, Mosh Crusher Jesus, you watched the video. If you did, you got your money's worth. He went, some celebrities kind of just half-ass it.
Yeah.
But he didn't. He went for it.
Johnny gave near 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
A lot of cuss words.
Did he do a Mort Goldman impression?
Of course. Well, Saul Rosenberg.
Saul Rosenberg.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Mort Goldman's more of an impression of Saul Rosenberg.
Yeah.
Mort Goldman is Saul Rosenberg's bitch.
You're talking about, if you're not familiar with Family Guy, it's a character on Family Guy.
I did not know those were connected. Okay.
So thank you Mosh Crusher. It was weird because when the video started, when I first clicked on the video, I, of course, wanted to see if I could figure out who it was, before they started talking. And I was staring and staring, going, well, I don't recognize this guy. And then when he started talking, I said to Josh, is this one of the friggin' Jerky Boys? No kidding. They even had a movie. Never saw it.
Oh, I didn't watch it either.
But they even had a movie.
I'm trying to remember, is that because in the movie the paper bags were gone, right?
I don't remember anything about the movie. Never saw it, so I don't know anything about it.
I don't know why I didn't watch it.
I don't know why
I love those guys.
Yeah.
There's certain things we both like. We absolutely loved a particular artist or an actor or something like that, or a duo like these guys, and just never really watched some of these other things. You just kind of wanted. I'll listen to what they do, and I don't need to see a movie.
Right. Stick with what made them popular, and maybe stay away from when they branch off into other things. We got to take a little break ski now. Janelle Klein, I believe, is going to be wandering in here a little bit later. How do you call it? The Norwegian Ox will be in town and on our program. We got this, that, and the other thing. Before you know it, we'll be back with the stupid news here on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
Hey there, I'm Paula Pan, host of the Afford Anything podcast. I help people make the smartest money decisions possible.
How should that money get invested? Why value? Why not growth? We're going to answer all of these questions.
All of them?
All of them!
From investing strategies
and the thing about tariffs
to economic trends and beyond.
In one episode.
In one episode. Can you believe it?
I got to ask for a raise.
What's 5% of zero?
Oh, crap.
Afford Anything. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
All right, let's go ahead with this. Josh, go sit in your own chair.
But I just got comfortable.
Sitting over here with me. Get in your own chair. You got a microphone over there. Let's see what gives way here. How's your handwriting?
Terrible.
Josh, how's your handwriting?
Awful. I can give you an example. I've been making a few notes here. Note 1, work on handwriting.
Well, can you pass that my way? Now, okay, it's sloppy. But
I'm writing very quickly, but it doesn't matter. It's bad even if I try.
But it's large.
Yeah, see, yours is very tiny and sloppy.
Right.
Yep. And it's almost like cursive writing is Nick's.
I have problems. I get my balls busted upside down from my awful childlike handwriting.
I have awesome handwriting.
Yeah?
I get compliments on it quite a bit.
I had a buddy who was so good, it almost looked like it was a typewriter. It was, people knew who it was instantaneously by just reading it. Horrible speller, but handwriting was perfect.
9 times out of 10, women have beautiful handwriting.
Mm-hmm. I've noticed that, girls seem to be better most often.
And it wasn't that long ago, some old-timer was talking about this at the bar, how people used to take pride in their handwriting, and they don't anymore. And obviously, I never did. What's that?
You just don't do it very often, I guess. The only time I really do is if it's something I have to write down very quickly. Otherwise, I'll just put it in a notes app or something.
What about, my mother was a legal secretary for many years when she was working, and she wrote shorthand. Have you ever tried to decode shorthand handwriting?
I've never even seen it.
Yeah, I haven't either.
What do you mean by that?
My mother would have to sit down and write it for you. This was a long time ago when I was a kid. She was a legal secretary, and she would have to take notes by hand. And I wish I could give you a better definition, but it was just abbreviations of words. Maybe someone who knows a thing or two could text in. Like I said, it was a long time ago, the last time I saw it. But I thought, wow, that's
My dad has the most beautiful handwriting I've ever seen, and I wonder if it has something to do with the fact that.
Did he do time?
No, he did grow up going to very Catholic schools, though.
Well, so
and
did
I think he does have a couple years on you, Josh. So I think when he went to school, that was very, very important.
It was.
We definitely worked on it.
They encouraged, back in your dad's day, they encouraged proper and, what's the word I'm looking for, Josh?
Well, everything, right? Proper punctuation.
Yeah.
The cursive was big. I mean,
that's what he does. Is he doesn't write like normally. It's all cursive, and it's just beautiful.
Cursive. Well, they were dicks about it at my school.
Oh, same
Really?
here.
Oh, yeah, they're very, very picky. And it's like I want to put hearts above all my lowercase i's. Why won't you let me do that?
I always tried to be one of those girls, and then I would always forget.
Here's a question from More Anxiety Than Hair Jesus about my mother's skills with shorthand handwriting. He asks, is it like the shorthand that courtroom typer people use? Yeah, that's my memory of it. And anyway.
Vertically Challenged Jesus texted in a picture. She said her mom writes her a letter every year on her birthday. Very nice handwriting. She said her own Vertically Challenged Jesus' handwriting looks like a 12-year-old. Yeah, she does have nice handwriting.
Shorthand like say this, a listener has texted in. Instead of the word ground, you write GND. Instead of the word appointment, you write APPT. I believe that that was a big factor in what she did. There's no reason.
Okay, that's shorthand. I'm familiar with that.
I think. But also, I'm telling you, it was different than that. And it doesn't matter. It just was something that I saw my mother do when I was a child.
Is that the shorthand website you were always on, Dana? The GRINDR one?
Yes, exactly. No vowels.
What I have for you right here now, then, to start off today's report. A numbskull out there in, how do I say this again? Colorado. He's wanted for attempting to hold up a bank, but the caper went sideways on him because his handwriting was such garbage. The bank teller couldn't read the effing note that he handed to her.
It's like explaining a joke, right? I'd hate to hand a bank teller a note, and they're like, I don't understand what you're trying to communicate here.
Dude strolled on into the neighborhood bank. This was in a town called Loveland, Colorado. He walked smooth on up to the teller, went ahead and handed her some kind of a note, but the teller couldn't make heads or toes. Heads or tails is how you say it. The bank teller could not make out what the note said because the poor bastard's handwriting was just pure ass.
I'd hate myself.
She tried to figure out what the note said.
Wait, you have a gum? What do you mean you have a gum?
Mm-hmm. She tried like hell. Couldn't figure it out. The bank robber, he got all frustrated by how long it was taking the teller to read his note, so he just upped and ran out of there. The cops are still looking for him.
It's always the little details, right? Some of those little details can make a big difference. Hello, fella Jeebus brings up a good point. Dana, you speak in shorthand.
I do sometimes. I do like my briefs.
You really do.
I lean into the briefs.
When we first met, I had to ask if you were in a hurry to go somewhere.
Now, it says here, this bank robber, his face was not covered during the incident, so I doubt they're not going to have a problem finding this guy. It says here a similar incident took place a few years ago in absolutely stupid England. Dude tried to rob a bank over there, but his note to the teller, I don't know. I think I'd be able to figure this one out. I think I'd be able to figure out what he was trying to say here, but according to the story, the teller could not understand this other bank robber's note either. The note said, "Your screen won't stop what I've got. Just hand over the 10s and 20s. Think about the customers." I don't think that's that difficult to understand, but again, it's England.
I don't think he needed the first sentence.
I expected a lot worse, but it is a little weird that some of these bank robbers just don't take a more direct approach and just say, this is a bank robbery, don't be stupid and get everybody killed.
Yeah, I mean, what's the difference? I don't understand. I'm right there with you.
Maybe the nerves get to them.
I suppose they're hoping other people don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I didn't think about that. You're trying to be subtle so the guy behind you in line doesn't Okay.
Yeah, so that they don't call anybody. Actually, when I worked at banks, and you had to go through this training, obviously, what to do if you're handed a note, but they never really talked about somebody like verbally telling you, hey, this is a stick-up. It was always like a note.
Well, did you ever get robbed?
No, I always kind of it's boring. So I kind of always
drama.
Yeah, I wanted something. I wanted to be able to be like, nah, man, sorry, nah.
That would be kind of fun working at a bank and just kind of having that in the back of your mind at any moment there could be a robbery going down. That would add a little juice to things, I think.
It does, but to be honest, you're not getting much. People really do not keep a lot of money up front or even in the back.
We used to have an FBI profiler on, like kind of a monthly segment. And she had mentioned that it's one of those crimes that's never worth it because you're going to get caught and the amount of money you take is going to be enough to charge you with some serious stuff, but it's not really worth it. You're not going to be living in the Caymans or something like that the rest of your life and hiding.
Honestly, it was kind of a letdown. I thought, I always thought there was just like these big stacks of money. No.
I always thought the handwriting experts on like cop shows were so cool, where they could like tell your entire personality and say, well, this person is a 43-year-old Caucasian male, probably lives in the inner city.
That's interesting.
They're in a failed relationship, and they can tell. I mean, who knows if they're anywhere near accurate?
And he's missing a thumb.
But in the cop shows, they nailed it.
Handwriting expert, big part of that movie, The Zodiac Killer Maniac. Have you seen the movie The Zodiac Killer Maniac from San Francisco?
Well, I've seen simply The Zodiac. I haven't seen that particular. Maybe that was a follow-up.
Sure.
I told you before that a buddy of mine, he's a high school English teacher, and when that movie came out, it was a relatively popular movie, and one of his students came in and they were talking about it, and my... on a Monday morning, the kid comes in, and my friend asked him, well, what did you think of the movie? They had talked about it on the previous Friday. He's like, well, it was good, but they never said who the killer was.
Yeah.
Never realizing it was based on a true story.
Oh, my gosh.
He had no idea.
Son of a bitch. Have you heard about the dyslexic bank robber, you guys? Offended Millennial Jesus wants to know if you've heard about the dyslexic bank robber.
No, I haven't.
He said, all right, mother stickers, this is an F-up. Back to handwriting. Here's a guy who says his dad was born in 1960, and his handwriting is beautiful, and it's in all capital letters.
I would assume he's always mad at me.
Crippling hunting and fishing addiction, Jesus said that his dad, who went to Catholic school, has beautiful handwriting. Yeah, I think you're onto something, Ashley. There's something there. But also, today if you write... with the way we were taught growing up, it's considered aggressive. Not too long ago, Ashley had told me she thought I was mad at her because I use punctuation in text messages, which to me seems crazy. But since you've brought it up, several people have told me, if you put a period at the end of a sentence, you're pissed about something.
It's like, whoa, bro, what did I do to you?
I still don't fully get it. I remember when emails first were a thing. Our internet guy here, back when we could afford an internet guy, he used to make fun of me because I'd put 2 spaces at the end of a sentence like we were taught when we typed back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of funny how communication changes like that, where all of a sudden you're aggressive if you're writing in the way that you were taught.
Here's one more side note on this bank robbery story where a robber couldn't go through with the act because the bank teller could not read his terrible handwriting. A Minnesota woman wrote about stealing a car in her diary. This was a while back, okay? A Minnesota lady wrote about stealing a car in her diary. Cops saw her diary and tried using this against her. But she continued to deny knowing anything about any stolen vehicles. I love the balls on these effing scumbags. We read about it in your diary. I don't know what you're talking about.
Never had a diary.
What's a diary?
You really have never had one, Ashley? I thought you said you did before. When you were a young lady.
I always wanted to have one. I always wanted to be like that cute, typical girl that you saw in movies, like we were talking about earlier, that put hearts above their eyes and all that stuff and was girly and wrote in her diary with her feet up in the air, but nah.
I remember the Mankato chick. We talked about her.
Oh, she was a Mankato lady?
Yeah, we talked about her, and she had wrote, she started her diary entry with, totally stole a car today.
What?
She totally did. It was epic. It was sick.
She should have had one of those cool diaries with, they have like actual locks on them.
Oh, yeah.
Those are easily pickable.
No, they have like ones that are digital.
Oh,
I haven't seen that.
I didn't see that. I'm talking about the old school back. They had a little key. You just take a paper clip of that thing and read all the dirty secrets.
Dana?
What?
Did you look in people's diaries?
No, maybe. Can I live?
We found my sister's. Didn't look in it, but very tempted to take a look at that.
You're a good man, Josh.
Oh, I wanted to see what was in that thing.
Yeah, but you likely would have read something that would have chilled you to the bone.
That was partially my fear.
And speaking of chill, it's about to get cold as ice up in here. A dude out there in China, don't you know, pulled off one of the coldest moves on record. This is a hell of a story, so hang in there with me if you can. I'll tell you the cold-blooded pimp's name for starters, Lou Lang. Now, the story mentions that he's a bit of a big shot over that way. Says here, Josh, he's the former chairman of the Bank of China.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool title.
Okay. Lou Lang, the former chairman.
The Bank of all of China.
Of the Bank of... So whatever that means. Keep that in mind, I guess. Now, here's the ice-cold move that he made. The story says that Lou Lang convinced his son to break up with his fiancée so he could marry her instead. Dude.
Nicky.
Yeah, that's going to probably ruin a relationship right there.
Lou wanted what his son had, so he went ahead and got diabolical. That is cold. Just like on David Lee Roth's 1991 album called A Little Ain't Enough, Dave's got a track on that record called 40 Below. And Dave says, they call me 40 Below because I'm cold. I love that line. I suggest you button up, Dave says on the track. Here's more on our guy Lou Lang. And he's been a bad boy. He has. Says here he recently made news headlines when he was issued a suspended death sentence for all kinds of crooked money deals while he was working as the chairman of the Bank of China. Millions and millions of dollars in this and that. A suspended death sentence. Interesting. But more interesting, to me at least, he also loves the fresh meat. He's been married 3 or 4 times, and folks have noticed that his brides keep getting younger and younger and hotter. But he really got her done this time, by God. He's upped and married his son's ex-fiancee, and damn did he play dirty to get the gal. The story says that as soon as Lou met his son's fiancée, he became, quote, bewitched by her beauty. So he started right then and there in planning to steal her away from his son.
I bet that's happened to you, Nick, where someone was bewitched by your beauty. I feel lucky that I get to see it every day. I'd imagine it's probably, especially Povs and Andover back in the day. A lot of bewitching.
I knocked them dead.
I know you did. They were under your spell.
You're a sweet young man.
Well, I mean it. Nothing sweet about it. I just mean it.
As soon as he met his son's fiancée, he just couldn't get enough.
I'd be concerned if my dad and I had the same taste in women. It would make me question how I felt about my mother.
Yeah, I dated a boy for a really long time, and his father liked to date girls that were our age. That was weird at like Christmases and stuff.
Where somebody shows up. Wait, didn't I go to class with you?
Yeah. No, seriously, it was so weird.
How did your boyfriend feel about it?
Awkward, uncomfortable, but I mean, they were always just like these bombshells, though, so it was kind of like, oh, all right.
Good morning, Missy. I mean, Mom. What movie? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
That's a great movie. The third one, not so much.
Which one was Keanu Reeves? Was he Bill or Ted? Oh. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
The blonde guy?
He was Ted.
Who was Ted?
Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves. The blonde guy, so that would have been Bill. Remember, his dad was dating a girl that Bill went to high school with?
Yeah, that was pretty good.
All right, so a few days after meeting his soon-to-be daughter-in-law, this is Lou Lang now, he gets a look at his son's fiancée. A few days after meeting her, he started pressuring his son into dumping her. He told his son that she wasn't from a good family, and all she wanted was monies. The young buck tried to convince his old man that he was wrong, but Lou wouldn't let it go. Eventually, the son folded, and he canned the gal, hot as she is. And that's when old Lou made his cold-ass moves on her. He did. He started buying the gal expensive this and luxury that. And you know how women hate that kind of thing. She couldn't resist. Now, smart guy that he is, Lou's next move, okay? To make sure that his son was no longer a threat, Lou set his son up with some other little cupcake. Go after
That's
this one.
nice.
I'm setting you up. See, that fiance you had? She wasn't worth Dick Tracy. I got this hot little number here. Go date her to get his son out of the mix. But then the son, 6 months after breaking up with his fiance, he found out that his gorgeous little former girlfriend was going to marry his dad and become his third stepmother. He did not enjoy that. As a matter of fact, the kid went so sideways when he found out that his dad was pinning his ex, he needed to be hospitalized.
Oh. I took that one to heart. Holy cow. I don't know if that would ever happen to most people. But she was a dime, this lady. Or again, I don't know what they have over there. But, yeah, she was very attractive.
Wah-wah-wee-wah. Now, the old man didn't get to enjoy his marriage to the hot young piece for very long, though. He got all tangled up in that legal jibber-jabber I was telling you about earlier, and she took a walk on his ass. But what a show that was, huh? Your dad talks you out of marrying this hot lady so he could have him to himself.
That's not right.
Yeah, I mean, what a douchebag. My God, I can't even imagine.
You got to break up with him. I think she's going to be dating someone older soon, son.
Yeah, what's that wedding going to be like?
And then he goes to, well, it's going to be sunless.
Well, it already happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it didn't last long because he got in all that trouble.
Then he's going to go to her. Yeah, boy, guys are the worst, aren't they? Man, I don't know what he was thinking.
All right, here's one for you. I suppose the lesson here is if you're going to be a good Samaritan, a straight-laced type character that helps the cops pinch bad guys and whatnot, you best make sure that you're clean and that you've actually caught a bad guy in a place called Vancouver Island. I'm going to guess that's probably surrounded by water somewhere near Vancouver.
Good guess.
Okay.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good.
Way wrong, but good guess.
Am I really? Am I off?
No.
In a place called Vancouver Island on New Year's Eve, Canadian New Year's Eve, whenever that is. Let's see if I can explain this clearly enough. So, New Year's Eve, a driver pulled over to the side of the road all by themselves. They weren't pulled over by the police. The driver just pulled the car on over. Then a second car pulled over and joined the first. Apparently, the second driver was convinced that the first driver was drunk. And the second driver just wanted to be sure that the first driver stayed there on the shoulder and didn't continue driving. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The self-awareness is very fun so far in this story. That's for sure.
But F me, once the cops stopped by, they found out that the first driver was fine as far as alcohol goes, but the Good Samaritan second driver was drunk. Too drunk to be legally driving on the damn Canadian roads. And you want to hear the real pisser here. According to police, the first driver, who was thought by the second driver to be possibly drunk, the first driver was stone cold sober. They were just struggling like hell with driving in the dark. So they were kind of swerving around, but it was just because they had trouble driving in the dark. Dinkus, driver number 2, pulled over to play the role of local hero Crime Stopper, and the prick was drunk. So long, sucker.
That's an awesome night at work for that cop, whoever that was.
And you know, that second driver, for Christ's sake, I'm getting a Dewey, huh? Well, but at least he maybe when speaking to the cop, he said, but at least I got this first guy. I kept him on the shoulder, right? Because he's drunk too, right? No. Just having trouble seeing in the dark. I have those problems.
Same here.
Bit of a hero complex.
Yeah. Vancouver Island is in Australia? Or is
that's a joke.
Oh, we're doing the Canadian.
Yeah, that's the Canadian-Australian
Australia joke thing. Yeah. Right. I don't know these things. I mean, all right, Josh, do we have any idea the total number of commercial airline urination incidents that officially cut loose in the year of 20, then 24? We don't have any idea that number, do we?
A couple.
I don't think anybody could count that high.
You think it's even higher than a couple?
Yeah. Seems to be every day there's more pee on the planes.
What I have for you, at least I hope, this is the last of such terrible incidents for the year 20 and 24. This happened back on December 27th. This must have been the last of the commercial airline urination incidents for the year. Hopefully, 20 and 25 will be a better and a drier year for you folks who sign up for those airplane rides. I'll get to it. A United Airlines passenger has been banned forever, I think. He took a fat squeege on some poor bastard fellow passenger. We've read so many stories like this. I wish I knew the exact count, but I don't. So many of these. It says here the victim was, quote, soaked with pee from his stomach down. That victim, a feller by the name of Jerome Gutierrez, he was just laid out on his airplane ride going from San Francisco to the by God Philippines. About 4 hours into the flight, suddenly a man got up out of his seat and started peeing on him. And this is terrible, the way this sounds right here. Gutierrez was asleep and buckled in. Long plane ride from San Francisco to the Philippines. Asleep and buckled in. He woke up to the man urinating all over him, and he thought he was dreaming.
I would hope I was dreaming.
That's not fair. Dude couldn't even defend himself. He's friggin' sound asleep.
Oh, gosh, that's a nightmare.
I got to say, it's still better than taking a bus. I took a bus up to Moorhead
Vancouver Island?
No, but I couldn't make it all the way to Australia. It's silly. I took a bus up to Moorhead, and I'd rather get peed on a plane.
Yeah, you didn't enjoy it?
No, I wasn't a fan.
Dude, sound asleep, and he's getting a golden shower. He wakes up to that. He thinks he's having a dream. He had to remain sitting in his urine-soaked clothes for 8 more hours after the incident. They had 8 damn hours to go, and dude just had to wear it.
Nope.
I guess there's an argument for, just in case, you get to bring an extra change of clothes on a carry-on in case you get peed on.
Jerome's family, he was traveling with some family members. They're upset. They don't think that United Airlines handled this nightmare properly. The man who urinated on Jerome apologized, begged him not to press charges. No mention.
No.
Huh?
I don't care how much he begged. I would press charges.
How much money does he have on him? That's my first question. You don't want me to press charges? How much you got?
Yep.
No mention in the story of the other guy being hammered or anything. I mean, I think I can take a decent guess, but there is no mention in the story of the dude being drunk. Maybe the guy who unleashed hell was just an adorable little bedwetter like Josh. I don't know.
The last one we talked about, the dude was hammered. Didn't realize he did it.
Maybe it goes without saying.
Thought he was in the bathroom. Would that change things for you, Ashley, if the person was just completely annihilated, would never have done that sober and just assumed they were in the lavatory there?
That would make it worse.
Oh, it would?
Yeah.
For me, I'd feel
like
a lot
you
better.
Irresponsible moron. Like, you can't control yourself. Like, no.
Well, but Josh...
If it was like a medical reason, then I would have some sympathy. But if you're just hammered, nah, screw you.
But wait, if you're just nuts and peeing on people?
That's the thing.
Yeah.
If the particular person chose you out of their being insane to pee on.
That's how he gets his jollies.
That's insane.
Versus a guy that just thinks he's in the bathroom.
No, that wouldn't make it better. No.
Hey, if you're going to pee on me, you better be sober, Abel.
Yeah. Something has to be medically wrong with you.
Wait, this pee tastes like beer. Are you drunk, you animal?
All right, we're going to close things out with an update on something from... Sorry, I took too big of a hit while you guys were talking. Whose is that? Is that your weed, Ashley?
Yeah.
What? You said you quit.
It's got a kick.
I can still help other people out, Josh.
Here's an update on something from 1 year ago. Although for some reason, this here story feels more like 10 years old. I don't know why. It doesn't matter, so I'm just going to go ahead anyway. The dude who got ass naked, most of you, I'm sure, remember this. The dude who got ass naked and then went ahead and jumped into the aquarium at a Bass Pro Shop in Alabama. Do you remember this individual?
Yes. Heck yeah. How can you forget this guy?
This was only a year ago? I don't know. It's crazy. He's gone to court once or twice now over that effing Gone show. And the general word is that if he can behave himself and stay off the hooch and the dope, he might be able to avoid going off to jail. Is the video... It is one of the greatest videos of all time. Is that up on our website?
Yes, it is.
Oh, I love that. George Owens is the goofy guy's name. He's up and around 43. How do you say that, Josh?
43 years old.
Right. Here's how it played out last year, if you missed it, and you can see the video, like Ashley said, on our website. He, outside the shop, outside Bass Pro Shop, he crashed his pickup into a light pole. He's got his old lady and his 6-year-old son inside the pickup. He crashes into a light pole. Then he got off all of his clothes and jumped in the aquarium. Big, beautiful aquarium there at Bass Pro Shops. He was cussing and swearing up and down. The video's effing incredible, especially when he eats on the slippery floor and falls. I love that part. I love that when he slips and falls on the floor. Once the cop showed up, he fought with him, of course. He kicked the cop in the pills. Women and children were running for their friggin' lives. Owens claimed he had taken a lot of drugs that he found in his garage.
I love when I find drugs.
He found them. Yeah. It wasn't. He didn't buy the drug. He found them in his garage. He later said he did the naked aquarium bit for, quote, religious reasons.
Nice try.
He's a man of God. Let him be.
But like I said, as big a goat rodeo as this was, a judge told old Greg Louganis here that if he hangs out at a drug treatment joint and he stays drug and alcohol free, he might not have to go to the Stony Lonesome.
Well, he obviously needs some help, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And that poor 6-year-old.
Oh,
it's probably his drugs.
Again, the 6-year-old?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Is the one who was stashing drugs in his dad's garage.
That's perhaps the most shocking part of this story.
Who cares, really, about that guy? Great. I hope he gets the help he needs. But most importantly, that video's back up on our website, and it's just one of my favorites of all time.
Terrible diver. Oh, he's terrible.
He's not very athletic.
No.
He's not the great.
And he's not very shy either. He'll get naked in front of people.
He had a lot of splash on that.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Edwards, 3 more. Time! Oh, my God. What an unbelievable moment, man. We wait all day for plays just like that. Anthony Edwards, thank you.
Tell you what, that was a hell of a shot by A1 from day one. It got Jim Peterson to giggle like a child.
That was cute.
That was my favorite part.
It tickled him. It just tickled him down to the core. Piss poor start to the operation last night for the Timberwolves, but they ended up with a win at home over the Los Angeles Clippers, 108-106. That's how she ended up. And Edwards hit a couple of huge three-point buckets late in the ball game. That was one of them right there. He scored 30. He is A1 from day one, except for nights when he's not. But that's not terribly often. Timberwolves are in New Orleans tonight, Josh, to play the Pelicans.
Oh, I bet they'll have fun.
I'll tell you what, yeah.
You have a prediction?
Well, the Pelicans are pretty terrible. Their record is far from impressive. But I thought the boys were talking about that Zion dudes last night. And the boys, I mean Michael Grady and Jim Pugh. I thought they were talking about that Zion Williamson. And every time I've watched Zion Williamson play the Timber, well, he beats their ass to death. So I don't know. Golden Gopher men's basketball last night, total disaster. Man, Bear Pigs are at home tonight to play the St. Louis Blues. Don't go anywhere. Cubbies News is coming up.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
Hey, it's Rich Eisen here. Join me and my compadre, Chris Brockman, every Monday on the Overreaction Monday podcast.
I'm also saying the record's going to go down.
I'm saying the record's going down anyway. The guy.
I don't think you're off on this at all. Like, you're spot on here. I don't think this is an overreaction because we have no idea what we're reacting to.
Come react or overreact with us.
Overreaction Monday. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
It's game over.
Over, man.
Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
We're gonna make out here.
No, we are not. Here,
turn off lights.
Stop right there.
Turn off the lights. We're gonna make out.
Wait. Stay right there.
Oh, it's my bad. It's my bad.
All right.
I gotta pee, bro.
I know. I have to pee as well.
Bro. I gotta pee.
Hello, soon-to-be viral video. A 24-year-old Hooters waitress from Sarasota, Florida, turned a routine DUI stop into a wild, flirty spectacle captured on body cam footage. After a boozy night out, a sultry and sauced-up Hooters waitress named Sophia figured her perceived charm and sex appeal might be just enough to get her out of trouble.
9 times out of 10, it might be.
In this case, it was not. From the moment she was pulled over, Sophia ratcheted up the romance. She started by saying to the officer, "Dave, we're going to make out," repeatedly calling him daddy and saying she'd do anything for him.
Okay, do you want to try this first exercise for me?
I will do anything for you, Daddy. Damn.
All right.
You in that suit? I'll do anything for you.
When her charm, offensive, fell flat, she switched gears, asking for the officer's phone number. After failing again, she leaned in mid-arrest and asked, "What? You afraid I'm going to grab your D?"
Dude.
Unfazed and clearly unimpressed, the officer stuck to his job, ignoring every over-the-top flirtation. When the flirting flopped, she was cuffed and tucked into the back of a patrol car. She later addressed the incident on TikTok, captioning her post, "Uber is cheaper."
She sounds like me when I'm drunk, but I'm not talking to a cop. I'm talking to my boyfriend usually.
You're that flirtatious?
Yeah. And then there's always at one point, "Man, I gotta pee really bad."
Cubby, where's the video of this sultry Hooters waitress?
It's up on 93x.com.
What?
She is a babe.
She would have had me fooled.
I was going to ask, and she lifts her...
Lieutenant, here's my badge and gun.
Yeah.
She lifts her sweatshirt up, too, and, shows,
she does.
why I work at Hooters.
Oh, yeah? Yep. I'm going to go swing by and see what she looks like.
She's doing okay for herself.
Even without knowing what she looks like, if I were that cop with that delivery she was throwing my way, she could have suckered me out of anything. I would have let her drive me home. You know what I mean?
A 33-year-old woman who suddenly started stripping and dancing on tables at an Ohio bar spit blood in the faces of 3 police officers.
Blood.
Cops responded to a 911 call from a bar employee who complained about Jaleesa Williams' impromptu tabletop routine and her refusal to leave. Upon arriving, the officers gave her a choice: leave quietly or face charges after they reviewed the bar's surveillance footage. But Williams was defiant. "Go ahead, watch the video," she told them with zero concern. When one officer went to check the footage, Williams bolted after him. As the second officer tried to intervene, she landed a punch squarely on his face. And that was just the beginning. On the way to the squad car, she kicked her resistance up a notch, spitting blood at the officers, trying to restrain her. Even as backup arrived, she managed to spit in a third officer's face before police finally secured a spit shield and took her to the hospital.
That's gross.
She's got a temper and a desire to dance, I guess.
It is pretty fun dancing on tables.
It is?
Yeah, I did it once because I was talking about how I always wanted to do it. They're like, yeah, get up there, do it, get on top of the bar. It's very, very scary, though.
Sounds like a good way to get hurt.
Yeah, you answered my question. I was going to ask where it was, so it was at a bar.
Yeah, it was fun. I always, ever since seeing Coyote Ugly when I was younger, I thought, that'll be me one day.
I had the same thought. It never panned out for me, though.
It's a great movie.
An Arizona pastor was caught secretly recording women in a church's bathroom after the camera fell out of a dryer. The 56-year-old perverted pastor in Phoenix reportedly installed the recording device in the church bathroom last fall, capturing video of women in October and early November. He was exposed when a mother discovered the camera while changing her baby in the women's bathroom. Investigators found screenshots of the so-called man of God adjusting the camera inside the bathroom. When the local media showed up at the peeping preacher's place, a woman who answered the disgraced disciple's door wasn't having any.
We went to the South Phoenix house where the arrest was made in early October. The woman who cracked open the door told us she had nothing to say.
Nothing at all?
No.
Okay.
I don't have nothing to say.
She don't have nothing to say.
Is that his woman or something? Why is she giving attitude?
That's my assumption. They didn't say specifically.
Okay, sure.
During questioning, the pastor admitted to placing the camera in October.
He's one of those that likes to watch people go potty, huh?
He loves it. Loves it. A 32-year-old ex-teacher in Duluth is accused of sending sexually explicit messages to a former student who at the time was only 15. In March, police in Hermantown learned of the crime, which happened a year earlier. The student saved Snapchat messages where the teacher made sexual advances and admitted, "I could be fired for this."
What?
She sent screenshots of the messages back to the teacher, demanding payment to keep her from releasing them.
Hey.
Financial records show the 32-year-old did, in fact, make 2 payments to her in March. The same month, he resigned from his teaching position. The maximum sentence for his felony charge is 5 years in prison.
Yeah, that's not
he knew it was coming, too, because Snapchat tells you if anybody ever screenshots your stuff or saves one of your photos or whatever.
Oh, it does.
Yeah, that's why it's most of the time now it's used to send not safe for work, like photos and all that kind of vibe. Because then you know if somebody's being creepy.
Couldn't you easily just take a picture of your screen with another camera?
Oh,
That's
a good
guess that is a good way around it. Yeah, I didn't think of that.
I was just trying to think how I could get around it.
Yeah, all right, Josh. Now I'm going to save all your nudes you send me on Snapchat.
Yeah, just get another device.
There we go. Perfect.
I could send them to you in a more permanent way. You don't even have to go through the trouble.
Yeah, maybe print a few out.
An Oklahoma City woman's facing a felony charge after allegedly throwing rocks from a freeway overpass, damaging another driver's vehicle.
What grade is she in?
Well, she's 39, so
she's a super
25th
senior.
grade. I don't know. According to police, a northbound driver spotted 39-year-old Amber Davis standing on a bridge above the roadway. Moments later, the driver heard a loud crash as a rock shattered their windshield, sending shards of glass into their interior.
That'll kill a guy.
Thankfully, the driver wasn't injured, but they didn't just let it slide. They pulled off the highway, made a U-turn, and returned to the overpass. There, they found Davis still on the bridge, seemingly waiting to target another passing vehicle.
She's some kind of derelict meth head or something?
Looked that way.
Yeah.
She looked probably 20 years older. A witness who called police backed up the driver's account.
There was what looked like a female figure with a coat and a hood over her head, and she raised her arm up in the air and she threw something down.
Now Davis faces a felony charge, while the driver's left with the unwelcome surprise of a costly holiday windshield repair. But it could have been much, much worse.
Ready to crack 40 acting like that, huh?
Yeah, you'd hope you'd grow out. Well, first, never get into that, but certainly grow out of it. I've had that happen where somebody was standing on a walkway over the freeway, but it was a pedestrian bridge. Scared the hell out of me. I don't know what they threw, but whatever it was louder than heck.
They must have known you, huh?
I'm assuming so.
Yeah.
Their planning was impeccable. I was impressed. A woman fed her family a homemade Christmas cake during a December 23rd family gathering.
That sounds great.
It does. It's a tradition there.
It is.
This was at a small seaside town in southern Brazil. That cake, however, was laced with arsenic, which goes against tradition.
Oh. She killed everybody in the house?
A few of them, unfortunately.
Oh, no.
Oh, my gosh.
Family members noticed a spicy and unpleasant flavor, so the baker, who unknowingly helped make the poisoned cake, urged them to stop eating it, but the damage was done. Officials found high arsenic levels in the victim's blood, leftover cake, and the flour used in baking, and police confirmed the suspect, the daughter-in-law, the woman who unsuspectedly baked it, searched online for arsenic before the incident. Local reports indicate police have requested to exhume the baker's late husband now, who died from food poisoning in the fall, but his death was considered non-suspicious at the time.
There you go.
The forensic police director said there were copious amounts of arsenic found in the victims, with up to 350 times higher the amount necessary to kill a person found in just one of them. They had a lot of cake.
Jeez, she was not playing.
One official said while arsenic is usually a naturally occurring element, people don't just accidentally stumble across enough to kill a guy. Investigators have yet to determine a motive, but said the family did seem to have a, quote, very harmonious relationship up until that point.
They did, huh?
That's what they said.
You never really know when one of your family members is looking to bump you off. So how many people ended up dead?
Unfortunately, 3.
Oh.
And then I think it was 6 or 7 more that had to go to the hospital.
Puking their guts out.
A 27-year-old South Carolina man was arrested on New Year's Eve after he assaulted 2 people in a Walmart checkout line with a bag of frozen pizza rolls. Oh, I bet that hurt.
Yeah.
The victims told officers they were in line at Walmart and asked Jeremiah Harris which line he was in. Harris responded with profanity and, as they were checking out, hit one of them in the face with frozen pizza rolls. When one victim tried to defend himself, Harris hit him in the face and took him to the ground, repeatedly kicking and stomping him. The other victim tried to intervene but was hit in the face as well and pushed into a checkout station. When officers arrived, the woman had redness on her face and the man had blood all over his mouth.
Were you like me, Josh? Were you hooked on pizza rolls to the point to where you almost sought help?
Definitely. We actually, about a month ago, bought pizza rolls for the first time. I don't think I had a pizza roll before that since I was in my early 20s.
Oh, my gosh, you went that long. You poor man.
When I was a young person, I bet you I had pizza rolls either for dinner or for that late night, I'm hammered and need something to eat snack.
Yes.
Probably 4 times a week, I was 100% dependent on pizza rolls.
Well, I could see why.
Yeah.
You know the serving size is like 6? What kind of BS is that?
What?
Who here has ever paid any attention to serving size?
No.
Not I.
Sorry.
Whatever's on my plate the second time around is a serving size for me, usually.
You know what else was a go-to drunken meal for me, especially when I was in my early 20s? The family-size can of raviolios.
I used to eat those constantly.
Chef Boyardee raviolios. I would show up to keg parties with a massive family-size can of raviolios, and people would always wonder, what the hell, who's this guy? Just so I would have them at the ready once I was destroyed drunk, so I could fire them into a pot and get myself a meal before I went CP9 eyes.
I know exactly what you're talking about. When I first moved, the first time I moved out, my parents wouldn't buy stuff like that. So first time I moved out, I would buy just those huge cans of like the regular ravioli, anything they had, SpaghettiOs, all that stuff.
I'd show up to keg parties with a plastic bag from my neighborhood grocery store with one item in it, and it was a fat-ass can of raviolios. I thought that was just a beautiful thing at 3, 4 in the morning.
A blade-wielding arborcidal maniac is on the loose in Queens after hacking into healthy trees in an unprovoked attack. The 2 trees, standing side by side on a quiet street, have left neighbors outraged and demanding justice.
Oh, really? See, you could come over and cut down the trees on my property anytime you want to.
You hate trees.
I do.
Whoever's doing this just wants attention, and they're an effing idiot. I'd love to catch them, said 42-year-old Joseph Hernandez. The damage was discovered during a routine inspection along St. John's Road, a street with a history of tree attacks.
A history?
It looks like a chainsaw, Hernandez said. This isn't something you do with a knife. You'd need heavy machinery, and it'd be loud. A 34-year-old neighbor named Stephanie said she thinks the culprit might live nearby. The Parks Department's investigating and has posted wanted signs on the trees, asking for tips. They're taking this seriously. A similar incident occurred a few years ago when a man was fined for attacking evergreens with a machete.
Yeah, see, I fantasize about a world without trees.
Are you going to become this guy?
I don't know if I have the energy for that, but Josh is right. I hate trees. Oh, you show me a tree, I'll hate its guts.
Yeah, you despise trees. A business owner in England was initially unfazed by the prospect of a new business moving into the vacant space next door, previously that housed a nail salon, until they discovered what the new business is. And what it is one of nature's oldest rivalries, as plans were announced to open a dog grooming salon next to the owner's cat cafe.
It's going to be trouble.
The calm, cozy Andover Cat Fe, a haven for feline lovers from across the country, found itself pitted against a fresh-faced rival, Barks and Bubbles, a dog grooming salon. The Cat Fe's owner isn't thrilled about the prospect of yapping pups disturbing their peaceful vibe and stressing out their feline friends. Our Cat Fe is supposed to be a calming place where people can enjoy being around cats, the owner said.
They really call it a Cat Fe?
They do, yes.
Okay.
If noisy, agitated dogs are all around, it'll stress out our cats and guests. More dogs in the area could also lead to more dog waste, and people might stand outside our windows with their noisy dogs, disturbing our cats and our visitors, he said.
This guy hates dogs.
On the flip side, Amber Cooper, the dog salon owner, defended her application. As someone who owns 3 cats, I get why the Cat Fe is concerned about the stress their cats might feel having a dog groomer next door. But since I work by appointment and only have a waiting area, my clients won't have to stand outside and disturb the cat, she said. As of now, Andover Cat Fe is the sole objector to Barks and Bubbles, while the rest of the community seems pretty enthusiastic about the new business.
Well, I don't see this ending well.
So far, it hasn't gone very well.
Barks and Bubbles is a pretty cute name, though.
There will be blood, Cubby.
There will be.
Before it's all said and done, there will be blood.
Instead of losing his cool over a traffic incident, a 47-year-old Maryland man got sweet revenge in a very creative and lucrative way. After being cut off on the highway, he didn't resort to road rage. He took note of the rude driver's license plate and decided to put those numbers to use. He played the lottery with them and won $500,000.
Oh, my gosh.
No, he didn't.
He did. The man said he was on the highway when a rude driver cut him off. Later that day, he stopped by Doc's F&B Liquors and played the license plate numbers on 10 identical Pick 5 tickets. I figure if you're going to play, you should play big, he said. And that gamble turned his traffic woes into a windfall. Each ticket won him $50,000, bringing his total winnings to $500,000. Suck it, other driver. The lucky winner plans to use his unexpected jackpot to pay off bills and make some investments.
What a douchebag.
That's so much better than what you normally would see out of someone.
What the heck?
What happened? Oh, I didn't use his blinker, so I shot him 45 times.
Oh.
Exactly.
The limited series Jerry Springer Fights Camera Action debuts today on Netflix, going behind the scenes of America's controversial talk show to expose its scandals both on and off the camera. Boy, I loved that show. The early years. I stopped watching after a while, but...
Yeah, I mean, Dana, weren't you, on that? Or
No.
in the crowd or something?
I was in the crowd at Maury Povich.
Oh, all right.
Jerry Springer, that would have been awesome being in the crowd. Back in the heyday.
I know a gal who was on the show.
How'd that go for her?
Well, it was all nonsense.
Darn.
Remember when we interviewed him?
Yes, it was beautiful.
He was
That
awesome.
was such a good interview.
He was great.
The thing about Jerry Springer is I feel shame. I do. I did not know what a wonderful guy he was until far after the fact, far after the hype around his television show. So I usually did ignore the show because I thought it was just ridiculous. I wish I would have known what a great guy he was when that show was hot. I would have watched it all the time. But yeah, I know a gal who was on the show. Her entire routine was made up.
Yeah.
But whatever, that's
I
fine.
liked it when I believed all of it.
Yeah, I mean... It was the weirdest thing to be sitting at home and what the hell is Shannon, whatever the hell, I haven't seen her in 35 years now, but what the hell, what is she doing on there? And then she tells this unbelievable story and I'm calling friends going, did she really beat up a nun and have sex with a dinosaur and all this thing? And they're like, what are you talking about? She was just on Jerry's. And then I see her, a handful of months later. And I said, what was with her? She says, yeah, they paid me to make it up.
Was she a good actress?
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
I suppose if you were asking whether or not it happened. So yeah.
I knew someone on Judge Judy. That was nuts.
That'd be so cool. I want to meet her.
Did they get yelled at by Judge Judy?
Oh, yeah. Everyone does.
Never saw it.
Judge Judy, she's very, I was going to say judgmental. That'd be stupid to say that. But she's very irritable. I think she just kind of idles at irritable.
Yep.
I haven't seen the program. I'll have to take your word for it, Cubby.
I'm not sure it's for you.
You think?
No, definitely not.
Why not?
I just don't think you'd like it.
Oh, you don't think I'd like her?
I don't think you'd like anything about it. I don't know how real that's. Was your buddy's gripe real?
Yeah, it was. That actually was.
Huh.
I could see you either loving her, Nick, or absolutely hating her. There'd be no in between.
You're probably right, Josh, because I didn't like People's Court.
Oh, you didn't? I loved People's Court.
I thought it was boring, and I thought Judge Wapner was a dildo, and I just couldn't get involved. So
how many minutes until that's on, Dana?
What's that?
How many minutes until Wapner's on?
What is that line? I don't remember the line.
Wasn't it 10 minutes till
10 minutes to Wapner?
What is that from? It's killing me.
10 minutes to Wapner?
Yeah, the Wapner.
Rain Man.
Oh, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. Jeremy Renner, 54.
I haven't thought about that in a long time. Sure. All right, yeah.
Jeremy Renner, 54 today. Nicolas Cage, 61. Kenny Loggins, the great Kenny Loggins, 77.
I bet you'll be tuning in to some Kenny songs maybe on your way home from work today.
Oh, I was thinking about some, yeah. If we
Meet me halfway.
That's one of them.
I listened to him yesterday.
That's the only song that could afford an Over the Top. If you watch Over the Top, listen to how many times they play the whole song and just the theme from it.
Saw it in the theater on opening night.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Nice. Did you ever turn your head around to get some extra power after that?
No. I can't say that I really liked that one very much.
I did when it came out. I watched it recently. I still liked it because it's Sly, but...
The mistake that my brother and I made that evening was inviting our dad to come see Over the Top with us. And getting my dad to go to a current movie was beyond pulling teeth.
Because he was a trucker? Did your dad want to see the movie because Sly was a trucker?
He had no idea of at all what he was getting himself into, the plot or who was in it or anything. My dad had no interest in current movies ever in his lifetime, but somehow we convinced him to go see Over the Top. And that was our first mistake because, as you know, the main character, Sly's main character, Lincoln Hawk, was a truck driver, and my dad criticized every move he made from start to finish. And he was right. He was right. I'm not a big over-the-top guy, but I love Sly, of course. I'm an American, aren't I?
Yeah. Good luck to Viking is my middle name, Jesus, and his wife having a kid today. And I've learned that the people who listen to 93X are very fertile and sexually active. Congratulations to Big Green Front Load Jesus, who's he and his wife just found out that she's pregnant, which Big Green Front Load Jesus said is awesome because that means he's going to have 2 more weeks of vacation this year. Congratulations to both those families, and that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver
on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
I'm not really interested in kind of, I guess I should say, addressing the rumors or speculation. What I can tell you is I love this team. I love everything about this organization, and this is where I want to be. This is where I want to keep coaching and leading.
Yeah, he's as good as gone.
His house is on the market.
Vikings head coach Kelvin O'Conrad right there. We heard some rumors yesterday that teams are looking to trade with the Vikings for Kelvin. And after hearing that comment, I think the writing's more than on the wall. He's as good as gone. How are you, Randy Shaver?
I'm good. He's not going anywhere. There's just no way.
You know who's sitting in with us right now, Randy Shaver? It's Jungle Damn Jane.
Well, it's about time.
Speaking of people you'd like to trade away, Randy.
What would we get in return, though?
Not much.
Right away with the self-deprecating comments, Janelle.
We could use a new printer. You're worth it.
Yes.
That sounds about right.
Good idea, Josh.
Janelle in trade for a new printer. I'm not taking that damn deal. How you been? How's life in 20 and 25 for Janelle Klein?
Oh, isn't that weird to say that?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same as it was last year, pretty much.
That's what we were saying. We were saying the same thing yesterday.
But it is kind of strange. It's 2025 already.
It is.
We're headed for disaster.
Wait, remember back in the day, I know, Nick, you still write checks. But that's how you knew.
I wrote one yesterday.
You did?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
I know that was how you knew what year it was, right?
Yeah.
Because you'd write 2024 for the first 2 weeks and
Yeah.
have to scratch that thing out.
It's weird because you don't even usually write that much anymore.
Checks?
You write, even write the date.
Yeah, we were.
When do you do that?
Oh, yeah, we were talking about that earlier, how
Yeah.
people don't really write much.
No.
Yeah, I wrote a check just yesterday to my bro, Skinny. Hey, Skinny, if you're listening, check's in the mail.
You know why I want to be one of Nick's inner circle? Because I want a nickname like that.
You got a nickname.
know, right?
You got
Although you gave it to yourself.
Well, sort of.
You gave yourself the nickname the Norwegian Ox, which is still one of my favorite nicknames I've ever heard in my life. If you weren't listening that day, I forgot what we were talking about. But you were
describing yourself.
You were being self-deprecating. You were being self-deprecating at the time. Do you remember exactly what we were talking about?
I think you were asking me something about my coworkers, and I was saying they're all like little petite women, and then there's me, and I said, I like to carry gear and like help my coworkers carry all the gear because I'm kind of this Norwegian ox.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes, and you're also Jungle Jane. You're Jupiter Jane.
I guess.
Yeah, if I started bringing you around my circle of friends, I don't think you'd enjoy your nickname.
I mean, Skinny. Who wouldn't want the nickname Skinny?
Skinny's in the house is where he's at, yeah.
Music has been taken out of this portion of the Half-Assed Morning Show podcast for licensing reasons.
All right, Randy Shaver. Here we effing go, and we got Janelle here to help us out. It's a beautiful thing. We were talking about movies a few minutes ago, Randy Shaver. Over the Top, Sylvester Stallone, 1987, I believe. You familiar with the film, Randy?
Not off the top of my head, no.
He's a tough single dad truck driver battling custody battle for his son, right, Josh, with his rich ex-wife's father.
Oh, and that guy was a jerk.
Oh, he was.
And he does some arm wrestling for money on the side, and it's very dramatic stuff. Kenny Loggins.
I think I saw it.
Yeah, Kenny Loggins is all over the soundtrack. It's Kenny Loggins' birthday today. That's how we got dialed in. Here's one of those songs from the movie.
Well, it's like the only song, pretty much.
Yeah, they do, like Josh said a few minutes ago, they do different variations of this song all throughout the movie. Meet Me Halfway Across the Stars or the Sky. The Sky. It's beautiful. Check it out, everybody. Kenny Loggins, happy birthday.
How old is Kenny Loggins?
77.
Wow.
I was watching some YouTube videos of him performing not too long ago. He sounds pretty good.
Kenny Loggins was a hit-making machine.
He was.
The soundtrack guy, some people call him.
He was a hit-making machine in the 1980s, and I'm not trying to sound like a deck here. Josh, you know I don't ever intentionally want to come off like a deck.
Never once.
But Kenny Loggins, I always found him difficult to look at.
Because I don't know what he looks like. He's the one that does Danny's Boy, right? That's
Danny's song.
Danny's song, okay.
I just always found him a little like Steve Tyler from Aerosmith. There's something about his appearance that unnerves me.
Really?
It's his mouth for me, Steven Tyler. So massive.
Does he have a big mouth?
Yeah.
Yeah. Kenny Loggins, I like
I can't
the look.
put a finger on what it is about Loggins.
Maybe he could grow just a righteous beard.
I guess he's kind of got a big forehead. Is that what it is?
Actually, I can't put a finger on it. Maybe it's because in the early days, Randy Shaver, I was more of a Messina guy. I don't know. And some of you are going, what? Well, in his early days, it was Loggins and Messina. And then, anyway, speaking of movies, I won't be getting involved, but I know some of you just can't wait to see Happy Gilmore Part 2.
I'm so excited, dude. That was such like a big movie in my childhood.
Oh, yeah. I watched that VHS until the damn tape snapped.
Yeah.
You didn't like it at all, Nick? Or did you ever see it, actually?
I saw Happy Gilmore Part 1. Didn't care for it.
I enjoyed it.
Some of you can't wait to see Happy Gilmore Part... So some information was released about the cast of the movie, Randy Shaver and Janelle Klein. Let me go ahead with this. WWE superstar Becky Lynch will be making an appearance in the movie.
Cool.
Former NFL All-Pro running back Reggie Bush.
A little random, but okay.
Now, Lynch and Bush will appear in the movie as golfers. So, keep an eye out for that. AEW star television wrestler Maxwell Jacob Friedman.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Will be making an appearance in Happy Gilmore Part 2. He'll be playing one of Sandler's sons in the movie.
That's how you know it's going to make money, because anything that MJF touches turns to gold.
I love MJF, I do. I think he's created a big enough name for himself that he wouldn't have to do something like this, but whatever. I'm not his agent. PGA, how do you say that, Randy? The professional golfers.
The PGA?
PGA golfers are all over this thing. Jordan Spieth.
Yeah.
Other professional or formerly professional golfers like Jack Nicklaus, Ricky Fowler, Lee Trevino, Corey Pavin are also being forced into this. Kansas City Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce.
No. Well, I think he just has a cameo in it, so you'll be not like you're going to see it anyway, but it doesn't sound like he's going to be a major part of the movie.
An official release date for the movie has not yet been revealed, okay? So that's some of who you can find in the upcoming sequel to the Happy Gilmore story.
What was that? Does anybody know the name of that TV show that Travis Kelce was just a part of?
Don't know, don't care.
He was in it for a couple of episodes.
Grotesquerie?
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good in that.
I watched the game show that he hosts.
Yeah, he wasn't any good in either one of them.
he was actually a pretty good game show host.
Becky Lynch, of course, is married to fellow WWE superstar hacksaw Jim Duggan.
What? No way.
That's breaking news.
Yeah, that is.
She's married to someone from the WWE. I thought it was Duggan.
I think it's Seth Rollins.
Seth Rollins?
I think they had a baby, too, together.
It says here she also landed a role, Josh, maybe you've followed this program. Becky Lynch also landed a role on a series called Star Trek Starfleet Academy.
No, I didn't watch that one.
I thought you were a Star Trek guy.
I am. That one I didn't watch. That was that an actual show or like a reality show? I can't remember.
Oh, I don't have a friggin' clue. Now, here's a headline from a website called Bro Bible, sticking with movies here, or I should say television programming. And, Josh, I think you can answer this question. The headline says here, Dallas Cowboys owner Jerry Jones has displayed surprisingly solid acting chops alongside Billy Bob Thornton on a television program by the name of Landman.
I've decided I want to become a Landman after watching this. It's one of my favorite shows
You
right
can't
now.
keep switching lifestyles.
I've heard this is really good.
It's great.
really good.
Every 8
It
months,
is excellent.
Every 8 months, you have a new goal in life, depending on what series you're involved in. A year and a half ago, you wanted to be a cowboy in Wyoming.
No. I wanted to be a buckle bunny in Montana.
Yep.
What was that show called?
Yellowstone. And it's all Taylor Sheridan. I mentioned any thought that he has becomes a hit television show, and I watch it.
Me too.
So now you want to be what? What is a landman?
I want to be a landman.
What is that?
Like I'm kind of the guy that's I'm on the ground at the oil fields. You know, we're
You're the head honcho.
yeah, I'm solving
my
problems.
Yeah.
I'm the guy. I'm dealing with the cartel. I'm dealing with the big bosses and the guys working.
I think you better go back to that dream of being a buckle bunny.
Yeah, I'm more suited to be a buckle bunny.
Yeah.
But I love how you get so infatuated. You become so dialed into these programs that it becomes your new fantasy.
Billy Bob Thornton is so good in this. And, you know, I was just telling you guys off air yesterday, Jerry Jones, he made a cameo.
Oh, you did mention this?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
You tune out after the show. So that's not your fault.
This was after the show.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. I don't listen to a single word that anybody says out loud once it hits 9 a.m. You are correct about
So
that. You two went. What did I say to you earlier, Ashley?
You said we're not allowed to do that today.
Off air yesterday, the other four members of the show just blah, 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 after we got off the air. We just got done talking for 3.5 hours. Everyone shut up so we can leave. Do you guys ever realize how you just keep blabbing?
I've got things to say.
Haven't we covered everything by the end of the show? Haven't we covered everything? You guys drive me nuts. So, yes, Josh, I wasn't listening yesterday. Would you agree that Jerry Jones is a decent actor on this program?
Yeah, maybe you remember this because I was talking to you about this, that I said, you know, he played himself. He was a cameo, but he did it very well. And it was kind of it was an emotional scene that he was a part of.
Okay.
Here's a little bit of a clip. It's a longer segment, but here's a clip.
Does he have any nude scenes?
No. Well, maybe he'll be back next episode.
Okay.
There's one more episode.
Oh gosh, man!
I bet that would be wrinkly.
I would not want to see that.
So this is actually Jerry Jones acting on the program?
Yeah, with John Hamm.
John Hamm.
Oh, hold on, that's not Jerry Jones. That was Hulk Hogan.
That was
Here we go.
So when that time comes like this, it's a celebration of your life, and you're not wishing you'd spend a little more time, seeing a few more suns come up. That's the trick. That's the trick. Because that's going to be your glory. But I'm pretty proud of them Cowboys. I'm pretty proud of the stuff we've done in oil and gas. It pales in comparison to how proud I am to have lived my life working with my kids.
He's basically telling John Hamm, here's the thing. Sure, you can work and be successful, but family's most important.
Okay, you mentioned he plays himself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it takes place in Texas.
I've never even seen the show, and I got the chills from that. That sounds very moving.
It is really, really good.
He does sound like...
And the wife, Billy Bob Thornton, Tommy's character, the wife is so good, so funny.
Okay.
Allie Larder, do you recognize that name?
Yeah.
From Varsity Blues?
Gorgeous.
Yeah, she's
awesome.
awesome.
A hot lady. Okay, yeah, Jerry actually sounded like he knew what he was doing there.
Oh, it was good.
But no love scenes.
Between Jerry and anybody else? No.
Yeah, no love scenes.
There's plenty of love scenes in the show.
Where would one find this program, Josh?
Paramount Plus.
Okay, cool.
There you go. All right. Yeah, you ain't lying. Once we get off the air, I don't. So you actually said this directly to me after 9 a.m. yesterday? You talked directly to me about Jerry Jones?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
I think you responded.
You did respond. It's not offensive because there's plenty of times where I'll be like, wow, I can't believe the back half of the building completely flooded yesterday. Wasn't that crazy? And you'll completely forget that happened. So huge news will be delivered. We'll have a meeting or something. You forgot absolutely everything.
I don't know what's happening anymore. Oh, wow. All right, Randy Shaver. I suppose since we were talking about Jerry Jones, we can start with a football type of an approach here. 2 NFL teams have been accused of losing their games last week on purpose.
Oh,
dun,
no.
dun.
Tanking.
And NFL fans are not happy. What, did you just roll out of a coma? Teams lose on purpose all the friggin' time at this time of the year. Football, basketball, at the end of the season. Football teams lose on purpose, basketball team, hockey, you name it. They lose on purpose for draft position and this and that. But anyway, Randy Shaver, the 2 teams who have been accused are the Buffalo Bills and how do you call it, the Kansas City Chiefs have been accused of losing a game on purpose.
The Kansas City Chiefs game is what I've seen people most upset by because wasn't it 0-38 or something? Like they couldn't even get
31-0 or 30.
Kind of a pet peeve when someone uses the smaller score first. But
oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Are the teams that are upset are the Miami Dolphins and Cincinnati, and teams that had a chance to make the playoffs had Denver lost. Kansas City decided to rest, a vast majority of their starting players,
right?
Key players. But that's their prerogative, right? When you earn the number 1 seed or you earn a playoff position and it's the last game of the year.
Put the JV guys out there.
You put other players out there because you don't want your guys to get hurt. I don't think it's tanking. I think they earned that opportunity to, and it doesn't affect their draft position at all. All it did was it allowed Denver an easier path to make the playoffs, and it screws over Cincinnati and Miami and teams like that. I don't blame anybody. I would not want to see Cincinnati in the playoffs.
No.
So it was a smart move. If indeed they did it on purpose so that Cincinnati doesn't make the playoffs, that's a smart move because the Bengals were super red hot.
That was the vibe. Are the Chiefs losing to the Broncos on purpose to keep Joe Burrow and the Bengals out of the playoffs? And what did the Bills do? Here's what they were accused of doing. Well, of course, they were accused of losing to the Patriots on purpose. And some believe the Bills did that to make sure that their division rival didn't get the top overall pick in next year's Drizaft.
I don't know if that's...
Yeah.
I mean, this is why This is why Bill Belichick has come out, and I know you don't like Bill Belichick, but
who does?
This is why Belichick has come out, and I think other people are starting to agree with this philosophy. Is have a lottery system like they do in the NBA and in baseball. Have a lottery system so that if you are tanking on because the NFL does not do that, right? If you have the worst record, you've got the number one pick.
Right.
There's no lottery.
Right.
But if you do a lottery, then if you do tank, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to have the number one pick. And I wouldn't be surprised if the NFL moves to a lottery type selection for maybe the first 10 picks.
Okay.
Something like that. Just because of what you're talking about and what's being speculated that teams were losing on purpose.
Now, there's two sides of the coin, Randy Shaver. You said the Chiefs earned the right to play all the JV guys out there on the final week because they had the number one seed, and they don't need to run their starters out there and get them all injured for the... But here's the other side of the coin now, according to a listener who texted in and said, fans earned that ticket to the game, and for them to drop 0 points and put forth zero effort is a slap in the face. I can see that side of it as well.
Sure, but again, I think as a fan, you're probably expecting them not to play their starters. As a fan in Week 17, if the Kansas City Chiefs earn the number one seed, chances are pretty good they're not going to play their best players. It's not like the NBA where sometimes they rest guys on a back-to-back and they don't play them because it's called load management. There's no load management in the NFL. Players don't play at this time of year only because they don't want any injuries before the playoffs. So it's not really the same thing.
I hear you. All right, real quick, back to movies because I received a text message here from Giant Firefighter Jesus. I'd like to meet this guy.
Ditto.
How big of a boy are you? Giant Firefighter Jesus. He texted in to say happy 20 and 25. Is this for real? You folks who keep up on movies and television can maybe let me know. Janelle and I, we don't know these things. Did you hear, he says, that Will Ferrell is going to play Ric Flair in a movie or a television show?
No.
I didn't see that.
Well, I'll say this much. No, I haven't heard that. He can't be any worse than that son of a bitch they put in that terrible Iron Claw movie. So, no, I did not hear that. Maybe someone can look up the legitimacy of that, but there's no way he could be any worse at the dude that
Will Ferrell, he'd have to do a little bit of body shaping in order to come off as a legitimate wrestler.
Well, I would just take a guess that this would be some kind of slap-ass comedy where, it's obvious that he's not in shape. Ha ha, look at his belly kind of a thing. But I don't know.
Yeah.
You haven't seen it. I just Googled it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, if any of you have suffered through that absolute pile of dog feces movie called The Iron Claw, the dude who played Ric Flair appeared to have maybe been vetted for 10 minutes before his scene as to how to portray the nature boy. It was the worst part of a terrible movie.
You're playing Ric Flair and action.
My theater was laughing, and not in like a good way, like a can you believe this type of way.
That was the criticism that I heard the most. Ric Flair was terrible. Whoever portrayed him, it was just a really bad choice.
And so was the rest of the movie. Randy Shaver, are you a power rankings guy? Do power rankings play a role in your life?
Not really.
Yard Barker has dumped their rankings of all 14 NFL playoff teams.
Okay.
And you'll be playing with yourself in no time because they gave your Detroit Lions the number one spot.
Okay.
Going into the playoff.
I think they've earned that.
It might be strange for Detroit to be in this position, they say, but anything shy of a Super Bowl appearance will be a grave disappointment.
It will be. Yeah.
But then they go with the Baltimore Raven.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Talking about Lamar Jackson possibly in line to win his third MVP. How come the acid rock got so loud here all of a sudden?
It's loud?
Oh, it seemed that way. Maybe it's just my brain. Number 3 is the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, boy, you're setting up the Chiefs, man.
Oh,
don't
yeah.
get any respect.
Yard Barker doubted us.
The Chiefs come in at number 4.
Yep, we don't get any respect.
Can you think of anything more miserable? Says right here, and this didn't dawn on me until I read the article earlier this morning. Can you think of anything more miserable? The Chiefs are attempting to become the first franchise ever to win 3 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah.
How awful would it feel to walk away from this year's Super Bowl after watching the Chiefs win again?
I don't think I could do it.
Well, it'd be like watching New England. I mean, you know.
Well, yeah. Yeah, there are many similarities there. 5, Philadelphia. You got to go all the way to number 6 to get to the Vikings.
That sounds about right.
But they do say if Sam Darnold can play mistake-free football and find the firepower around him, Minnesota will be a tough out. They follow with my Commodores, the Packers, the Buccaneers, Chargers, Rams, Broncos, Texans, and wrapping it up, the Pittsburgh Steelers. It says here it would be a miracle if this team even gets out of the wild card round.
Yep.
The pre-playoff power rankings.
Well, I mean, the 3 top AFC teams, that's a gauntlet, those 3 teams. That's pretty difficult. I would say the NFC is pretty much it's Detroit, and then there's kind of everybody else at this point. Feels that way. But the AFC, I think, is a toss-up between those 3 teams.
They got some good clubs there. Something we forgot to talk about yesterday. What happened with that Saquon Barkley dude? So he did not go out and break the record. Did we talk about this and I forgot?
We did not. He decided not. He decided not to play.
Oh, he decided.
Oh, I didn't know that was his call. Mm-hmm. That was his call. You're saying?
I think he decided that they were going to rest and not risk injury.
Huh.
So
well, that mean if it was the teams,
he was 107 yards or something like that away from the record. That's a lot of yards in a game. I mean, that's you playing basically the entire game to try to get that record. And I think if it had been like what Mike Evans did, Mike Evans was at the end of that Tampa game was 5 yards short of 1,000, which would give him 11 consecutive seasons of 1,000 yards receiving. Only Jerry Rice has ever done that.
Mm-hmm.
They left him in the game when the game was decided. They threw a pass to him. He got his yards. He got his $3 million bonus, and he got that record. Had Saquon been close to the record, within maybe 50 yards, he probably they may have given him a chance, just because that's a little bit more within reason. But 105 in a game probably would take you the game in order to get that. And that's a lot of injury risk.
All right. I would not be surprised if the story was the Eagles told them you're not playing, because, of course, they want to be careful with him.
I think it was probably a mutual decision. The Eagles didn't play a lot of their starters in that game.
Okay, so we don't know whose decision it was. You guys started off. You started off by saying it was his decision. That is shocking. I would think most guys would say, "Hell no, I'm playing. I want to get the record. Whatever. I don't care one way or the other." I was just curious because we didn't talk about it yesterday, and I wasn't sure exactly what had happened there.
Yeah.
So Mike Evans, right? He 1,000 yards receiving on the season.
Only Jerry Rice, 11 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. That's amazing.
How about this? This is let's go with the darker side of being a wide receiver in the National Football League. It appears to be a Pittsburgh Steelers uniform this guy is wearing. George Pickens. Never heard of the guy. Coming into Week 18, coming into the final week of the season, he had 900 receiving yards, right? And he was going for that 1,000-yard season. I mean, he's got to get 100 receiving yards in a game, but still, final week of the season, he's got 900 yards receiving. He's looking for 1,000. Maybe he'd have some kind of a massive bonus, right? A $3 million bonus or something had he reached there. Goes into the game with 900 receiving yards. He finished the game in the regular season with 899 receiving yards.
Yeah.
That's great.
Son of a bitch.
He has a lot of drops in him.
Look how sad he looks in this picture, too, John.
He doesn't look too bad.
He's depressed as all hell. How the hell did I come into the game with 900 receiving yards? I'm walking out with 899. All right. Let's get to what Janelle showed up for. Let's talk,
boy.
Talk a little Timberwolves. She's a basketball gal. Grew up with a court in her backyard that she never used.
Yes. I mean, she grew up with the game.
Mm-hmm.
She knows the game.
In her blood.
Yes, it's in her blood.
You're basically built for it with your size.
Pretty much.
Right.
Athletic dominance.
Daughter of a coach, as I admitted last time I was here.
Right.
Despite a piss-poor start to the operation, the Timberwolves did end up with a win at home last night over the Los Angeles Clippers. 108-106 she ended up. So they busted up their 3-game losing streak. Anthony Edwards hit a couple of huge 3-point buckets late in the ballgame. He wrapped her up for the boys with 28 of his 37 points in the second half.
Yeah, they made a starting lineup change. They put DiVincenzo in the starting lineup last night. It took him a while to get going.
Yeah.
The third quarter last night was the difference in the game. And they shot the lights out in the third quarter, even though at the end of the quarter they were only, I think, still ahead by 2 points. But they at least had worked their way back into the game. They finished the game without Julius Randle. He was on the bench, not because he fouled out, but because he played terrible.
Oh.
And so they're trying to find pieces, right? Trying to figure out what works and what doesn't. Here we are at game 35 or 36 or wherever we are. I mean, that was a big win. The Clippers are a good basketball team. They're deep. They've got a decent bench. Kawhi is working his way back. He only played 21 minutes last night. When he starts to play the total minutes, they'll be a much better club. But the Wolves don't play him again. They're done. They've seen him now for the rest of the year. So it was a nice win last night when you consider this team either wins 3 in a row or loses 3 in a row. They're in that groove right now where they seem to play well for a little bit of a stretch and then they play bad for a stretch. They've got to find that consistency.
Oh my God! What an unbelievable moment, man! We wait all day for plays just like that. Anthony Edwards, thank you.
That was A1 from day one's big game-winning three-pointer. Michael Grady and Jim Peterson on the call. A1 from day one. What do you like better, Josh, when Michael Grady says cash on a three-point bucket or bottoms?
You know what? Probably bottoms.
Yeah.
I mean, they're so.
I'm a bottoms guy.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been kind of a bottoms guy.
Yeah, he's such a solid play-by-play man. Those guys are a riot. At New Orleans tonight, Randy Shaver, to play the Pelicans.
And Zion may play tonight.
Oh,
so
no.
They may get Zion Williamson back.
He's very good. He's very good. I know.
That's not the basketball game I want to talk about this morning.
Well, see, here's the thing, Randy Shaver. You and I are the only swinging D's in town who watch Golden Gopher men's basketball.
Good God, Nick.
Aside from our listener, March Madness Jesus.
Did you stay up, Nick, and watch that
Yes,
game?
I did.
Oh, my God. Were you yelling at the TV like I was?
It was a nightmare.
I laid in bed. I happened to realize it was on the start of the second half. So I'm laying in bed, and if the neighbors didn't hear me, I'll be shocked. I was so mad. So mad. I mean, I don't really get that fired up about it, but I want them to win because I just feel so, I don't know what it is, but God, they just cannot get out of their own way. It's just amazing. They're the worst free throw shooting team in the country.
On the planet.
On the planet.
And they have been for decades.
They shot 44% from the line last night. They missed 15 free throws. They missed free throws in the end of regulation, in the overtimes, that could have sealed the game.
Yeah.
They have a stupid foul. Just a stupid foul that allows Ohio State. It's just all of those things. Again, I'll say it again. Ben Johnson, great guy. I just don't know if he survives this season.
It was a disaster last night. It was a total disaster.
I just don't know how you do it. I don't.
You know, it was a real shame because they had a couple kids really have great games like that. Awesome, the rookie.
Yeah.
That's not the word
and
in
Parker
college.
Fox played great.
Well, what's the word in college?
Freshman?
You're not freshman. The freshman, he grew up north. He had a great game. Parker Fox is always a good performer.
Yeah.
It was a total disaster.
And there's
27 free throws. 27 free throws, and they made 12 of them.
There's nobody in the building. That's the saddest part of all. You look at the shots, like if they're at the free throw line, and it's just me, right? Because I've been to so many great games in that building. And you see the upper deck, there's nobody there.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nobody there. It's just sad.
That was a hell of a deal last night. Jesus Christ. It was an 8 o'clock game. It went 2 overtimes. It was 11:15. I'm still watching that game last night. Like Randy Shaver cussing and swearing.
Oh, it's just so mad.
I had already gotten all of my clothes off, ready to go to bed, Josh. I'm sitting there in my drawers like a damn jackass.
I know.
Watching them miss free throw after free throw after free throw.
It's funny you said that because after the game was over, I think Roseanne looked at me and goes, all right, was it really worth all that? And I was like, you know what? Son of a buck. I should have just let it go.
That was
right?
tough,
God
man.
darn it.
It's tough. How about a little sports history, Randy Shaver? Little history. On this date in 1927, the Harlem Globetrotters played their first game in a town called Hinckley, Illinois. Has everyone gotten a chance to see the Harlem Globetrotters at least once?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, they were great.
So fun.
Everyone
Back in the day
smashed
with Meadowlark Lemon and Curly Neal. Yes.
You got to go, Ashley. You got to see one.
I would absolutely love to. It seems like a good time.
Here's the good news, Ashley. It's kind of like when Josh and I went and saw professional lacrosse a number of years ago. Once we saw it, that initial time, we knew we'd never have to return again. That's the similar. There's something about the Harlem Globetrotters. As much as I love them, the first time I saw them, I said to myself, okay, I'm good.
It's kind of fun when, like, the heavier guy on the team sits in the crowd and eats a kid's cheese curds.
Yeah.
Instead of being out there on the court.
And his shorts are kind of always sagging off his ass. Yeah.
Nice. All right, I got one night in me.
It was so fun as a kid to go because the players were just so great. You know, they knew what they were there for. They'd hang out afterwards, sign autographs, bring kids out on the floor to take a shot. It was just a blast.
Randy Shaver. Got a smart-ass comment here for you from Tonka Tig Welding Jesus. You're talking about your experience last night watching the Golden Gophers. You were hollering and screaming.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised if the neighbors didn't hear you. Tonka Tig Welding Jesus says, I bet the neighbors almost always hear Randy when he's in bed. Are you loud like me, Randy? Are you loud in bed?
No comment.
You like it noisy? I like to make my presence known.
No, that's for sure.
Call the cops. Harlem Globetrotters. Yeah, go see them once. You'll love it. And then you're good. You're good. Can we play Sweet Georgia Brown, or are we going to get in trouble with the podcast gods or whatever the problem is around here? That's such a.
I'm already sending him
It's such
an
a
email,
happy
so.
song, such a happy little tune. Right? Did I get the name of the tune right?
And you remember, Nick?
Yeah.
You remember that the Gophers back in the 70s played Sweet Georgia Brown for their warm-ups.
Yeah, it's kind
when
of
Dave Winfield and those guys were for Golden Gophers. They did. If you go on YouTube and put in Golden Gopher warm-ups 1970s, you'll see them do all of these great Harlem Globetrotter type warm-ups before the game. That people used to get to the Williams Arena early just to watch the Gophers do their warm-up routine.
What's the name of the Benny Hill tune again?
Yakety Sax.
Same kind of a vibe.
Yep.
When I hear the Benny Hill tune, when I hear Sweet Georgia Brown, when I hear the theme to Good Times.
Oh, sure.
When I hear Andy Griffith theme, I love that.
I never got involved with that guy. I like Don Knotts, but I never really gave two pumps about the Andy Griffith show. Good Times, I mean, that was... I still watch it almost every day on reruns, Good Times. I got like a $2 type of a cable package, and they play a lot of old programs. And I still sing along every time to Good Times. I sing my ass off. You got to be able to sing your ass. Oh, and whenever we talk about Good Times, someone always wants to text in about that scene where James dies.
I can't do it. Yeah.
Don't do that to us when we're live on the radio, because that was a crushing moment from my childhood when James died. Oh, my God. Florida, okay, I can't say any more about it. Man Bear Pigs are at home tonight to play the St. Louis Blues. Now, they're going to have a handful of players on the bench tonight with limited experience. They got a lot of injuries, Randy Shaver.
Yeah.
So expect to see these names on the backs of sweaters tonight. A few of them you've seen before. Travis Boyd, the former Golden Gopher. Yep. Brendan Gauntz. I don't know if I've seen that one before. Carson Lambos. I don't know. A lot of injuries. Spurgeon's off the injured reserve. The Russian kid's not playing. It sounds like maybe Zuccarello and Fred Gaudreau have diarrhea. They have an illness, it says here. So there are going to be some fresh-faced kids out there trying to make a name for themselves. Marco Rossi was named the NHL's first star of the week, don't you know? With the Russian kid being hurt, the boys needed someone or another to pump in a few more points, and Rossi's gone ahead and done it. Led the league last week with 8 points and some big, timely goals. Scored the game-tying goal in that game against Washington the other night, which they eventually won in a shootout. He had 4 points. He had all the assists in their win over Carolina the other night. When it was a 4-0 win, he had all the assists. And I looked it up. No empty netters. Good for you, kid. So they've won 5 of their last 6 heading into the game to... the defenseman, Jake Middleton, he might make her back to the ice tonight. He's missed a lot of games here with this or that kind of an injury. No sure thing, but he might make it. And here's a sign of the times before we go. How many cell phones do you have on you right now, Janelle Klein?
2.
Why do you carry 2 cell phones?
She stole mine. I'd like it back. I went from 1 to 0.
One for personal reasons, one for business?
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of... Was your strategy there? Look, I don't want these sleazy TV ball bags to have my phone number and bother me all the time.
It was more like, hey, we need you to call this guy accused of a crime.
Oh, that makes sense.
And I'm like, I don't really want to do that on my personal cell phone.
Your inspiration wasn't the Kevin Gates song at all?
What?
I think of you every time I hear that song. It's a really popular song. He's got 2 phones.
Who's Kevin Gates?
He's a rapper. So he's got 2 phones, one for the plug and one for the load. One for the bitches, one for the dough.
I was called a plug once. And I thought it was an insult. Turns out it was not. It was a very nice thing for my stepson to say.
Wait a minute. A plug is good?
Yes.
Yeah.
We were just talking to Marco, what's the guy's name we talked to from the Wild?
Foligno.
Mark Foligno. We were talking about plug as a derogatory term, but now it's a positive
Yeah,
thing?
I guess so. Yeah.
It's the dude.
You got the hookup.
Yeah, you got the hookup.
Oh, you're
Like
a
you're
hookup.
reliable.
Oh. That's really interesting, Janelle, and makes total sense. That's why you have 2 phones. Yeah, you got to call some shady bitches sometimes. You don't want them to have your friggin'... Oh, God, wouldn't that be unnerving at 2 o'clock in the morning, one of these guys?
I know you've told us stories about people you regret giving your phone number to. Your legit phone number.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So I can't even imagine some of those other
Can't get that
characters.
back.
How many of us can say that you had that moment where you thought, oh, my God, I never should have given them my phone number?
All the time.
Oh, boy.
That's why the block button is a beautiful thing.
Do you have a specific story where someone really creeped you out, Janelle?
I don't know about story, but just it happened early, like pretty early on at my time at KARE 11, and I went to them and said, I can't have this number out there. This is too weird.
Did you get some D pics?
No.
Oh, no.
Wapple, why'd you do that?
Yeah, sorry, Janelle.
You got some D pics, didn't
Well,
you?
I mean, I don't think that has anything to do with the number, but just weird people where you're like, okay, I never want to see this person again. And now they have my phone number. Right?
Yeah, oh, no, you don't have to explain it to us. I was just looking for maybe some specific horror story. We all know what that feels like. Oh, my God, they have my number.
Or have you ever had someone else give a person your number?
Yes, that's the worst.
Yeah.
Like,
don't be giving anybody my friggin' phone number.
Yeah, don't do
I'd at least like the choice.
Yeah.
Here's why I asked about cellular telephones. And this is a sign of the times. Something most of us have never seen afore. A video came up and around out of Russia during a KHL hockey game. Mostly Russian clubs play in that league. A guy I went to high school with played in the KHL for a while. Said it was miserable. Anyway, a friggin' player out there playing the game, a supposed professional, while the dude is out there playing the damn game, his cellular telephone comes shooting out from under his gear and out onto the ice.
That video's up on 93x.com.
He's cutting around, doing this and that, right? He's skating around. He takes a hard left, and his phone took a hard right out of the bottom of his breezers and goes sliding across the rink like a big square puck.
I saw some people joking on Twitter that they were saying he must have another woman on the side or something. He doesn't want to leave his phone in the locker room because he doesn't want his wife to come and grab it and go through it or something. So he's got to keep it with him at all times.
It's a pretty elaborate theory, but...
but then there was actually like a bunch of guys that were like, yeah, felt that.
The player is called Nikita Dynyek. You've never heard of him, and you likely never will again. But in the video, you said it's on our website?
Yes.
A ref goes and fetches the telephone, brings it back to the kid on the bench, and tell me, Josh, if that kid didn't look embarrassed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he turned a few shades of red for sure.
He didn't, reach for his phone for a while. He was like, all right, which one is it?
It's not entirely clear why he was cruising around on the ice with his friggin' phone in his breezers.
Maybe he was trying to get his steps.
You picked him up. You dropped him. Jesus said he doesn't mind if I give you, Janelle, his phone number.
Thanks.
So I'll pass that
along. All right, good.
off here.
Thank you.
Here's a listener who says the hockey player we're talking about here, Nikita Dynyek, whatever the hell, he said the phone was stuffed in his elbow pad. He puts it there when he sits down between periods. He puts it there. So why is he fingering his cell phone in between periods? Shouldn't you be talking to your coach and your teammates? So that was his excuse. In between periods, he's sitting in the locker room. He plays with his phone and then tucks it into his elbow pad. He forgot to take it out before he went back on. Well, what are you doing playing with your phone in the first place between periods? I'm not yelling at you, listener, who gave me the information. I'm yelling at if I were the coach, I'd say, put your friggin' cell phone away. We're supposed to be pros out here. Pittsburgh Pirates outfielder Rodolfo Castro was suspended for a game a couple years ago in the big leagues for bringing his telephone out onto the field. I don't remember that. That's embarrassing.
Don't you just want a break from it? I love not having it around.
Dude.
I agree, but it's one of those things where, for some people, if you don't text them back within a couple of minutes, they're furious.
I know.
They don't realize you might be in the shower or something.
Right. Well, I don't know.
It was really funny watching the video of that ref with the phone in his hand, skating along the bench. And so, is this yours? Is this yours? Is this yours? And all the players are, no. They finally get to the one kid, and I suppose that's mine.
Grabs it so fast.
One of the funniest things I ever saw playing hockey back in high school, came off a shift, and we're all sitting on the bench, and the ref skates over to our bench with a nut cup in his hand. Anyone lose a nut cup? First guy, no. Second guy, no. Third guy, no. My teammate, Mark, that's mine.
What happened?
It slid out of his jock he didn't even realize it. It jumped right out of his jock while we were out there playing.
I could see.
How is that even possible?
He didn't snap it shut. You know how you slide it down into your jock ski and snap those? Yeah.
So the cup part came out, not the whole.
I
was
cup.
picturing the whole everything.
No, not the whole jock. The cup came out the jock, and it was skidding around. It was all yellowed and whatnot. It was gross. You had a phone number stuffed in it.
Dana, you probably had a lot of time on the bench playing sports.
Mm-hmm.
I could picture you sitting there with a DS or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Nintendo Switch or something.
A little Nintendo.
Would have made my time a lot more productive for sure.
Sorry about that Golden Gopher game and what it did to your life expectancy last night, Randy Shaver. I was there with you. It was brutal.
Yep.
But there you go. What do you care? You're retired. You just have a few drinks. Forget all
do
about
this.
Yeah. So take your mind off of it.
Dude.
So long, sucker.
Oh, boy. All right. See you tomorrow.
We'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll be back in a few minutes with more Janelle Klein.
There's a douchiness to them. The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.
Welcome to the Jungle Clones. It's the Jim Rome Show podcast.
The greatest and loyal fan base ever. You, the clones. It all starts with the jungle. We're in it to win it, and I'm in it to go as hard as I possibly can every day to make sure that you clones get the best possible product every single day. Day one, all in, let's freaking go.
The Jim Rome Show. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
KARE 11's Janelle Klein.
This is the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Oh, wow. It's been a hell of a good experience. It's been a positive experience, I think, so far. Welcome back to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. You're a damn wonderful crowd. Janelle Klein is sitting here in studio with us. Thanks for swinging by, Janelle.
I am so happy to be back.
Wonderful to see you again. Here's where we're going next, Janelle. I'd like to say I'm different, but I probably am guilty of this kind of thing. It says here, we judge people based on what they do for a living. I mean, I can't think of anything specific, but I'm sure I'm guilty of that. Judging people by what they do for a living. Do you remember, everybody here in the room, remember years ago when Wapple degraded and insulted every garbage man in our listening audience by saying he could do their job easily? It almost caused a riot in the parking lot.
They're waiting for him.
There were threats. There was a terrible vibe after he spit that out of his yap. It wasn't their job.
Yeah, I was worried he was going to end up in the back of one.
I don't know what got into you that
Crushed.
morning, but we were discussing what jobs we might think to be easy. And he said, oh, garbage man. And they wanted to kick his ass. We saved your ass that day, Wapple, by talking folks down.
Janelle, that was my first dream job.
Garbage man?
Being a garbage man. My mom used to wake us up early on garbage day to go out and wave. He always waved back. I loved it.
I think it'd be fun to have any job where you get to drive around.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'd want to do once they fire us, which could be within the year.
Any day.
You want to maybe be an Uber Eats driver?
Yeah, something like that.
Wait. What about being a lunch lady?
That is also something I want to do.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Do you mind me saying who inspired me?
No.
Your wife has inspired me in many ways, but that's the latest one.
Yeah.
Is she's doing that, and I would love to do something like that.
Just slanging chicken patties.
Heck yeah.
She's a substitute lunch lady. And, it sounds like a pretty cool gig. She seems to enjoy it.
So Hot Librarian Jesus said, well, I'm curious, what do you think of my profession? I love it.
That would be the best.
A librarian would be the best? God. Why would that be the best?
I would love that job.
I'm a big fan of the library.
I am too.
Mm-hmm. I know two of them, and then you got what's her name?
Hot Librarian Jesus.
Okay, I can't say I know her personally. I've met her, but I know two librarians. They're pretty happy people. I don't know much about the gig.
From the people that I've met who have done it have really enjoyed it.
Oh, yeah.
The ones that I've known do not seem like happy people.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's usually somebody that's a little bit older, and they look very unhappy, but maybe that's just because they're older.
They're happy at the one by me.
So we probably all unfairly, off the top of your head, again, admitting that it's wrong and accepting that it's wrong, what is a profession to where when you hear someone does it for a living, you might go, I'll go ahead. I often assume car salesmen or lawyers to be sleazy, right?
Sure.
So when I hear that initially, I go, and then I meet various car salespeople and lawyers and realize that that's wrong for me to immediately assume that they're sleazy, because obviously not all of them are. What others come to mind?
I would say off the top of my head, anybody that's in sales. Because I feel like for the most part...
Is that simply based on our coworkers? Because I understand.
Sales.
No, I think for the most part, they don't believe in the product they're selling.
Right.
And just, I don't know, kind of seems like lying.
Actually, I worked in sales for 3 months once, and that's basically what it was. They teach you how to lie and manipulate the client into buying the product.
Yeah, see, my boyfriend's about to be pissed because that's what he does for a living, but... I don't know.
What, lie and manipulate?
No, he's in sales, but he's made me realize that some people actually do care about what the product they're selling. But
he loved drugs.
Yeah,
of course he enjoys selling.
But for the most part, they don't seem too honest.
I mean, there's a lot of women out there who might say when they hear a girl is a stripper, they go, well, they automatically think something negative about that profession. There are many we could cover. Back to garbage men. A garbage man recently ranted on social media about being ghosted by women because of what he does for a living. And that got this online conversation about how we do unfairly judge people, sometimes based on what they do for a living. Like I said, I've been proven wrong many times, but you can't help but initially go, oh, well. Garbage man.
I don't get that.
What's that?
I don't. That's weird to me, that somebody would look down on a garbage man. Like, there's certain jobs, that you can understand. I don't want to offend anybody, but you mentioned stripper. That's the first thing that came to mind. Like, as far as something you notice, and you might prejudge a person based on that. Okay, that's one that came to mind for me. But I don't really get the garbage man thing.
Ashley, would you date a garbage man?
Yeah, I would now, but I'd...
Well, she used to be one.
Exactly.
Well, at least for, I don't know, an hour a day at the state fair when you weren't
like
drinking or smoking drugs.
Days.
Yeah.
But when I was younger, I mean, even 6 years ago, I'd probably say absolutely not, because I always thought they made crap pay, $12 an hour kind of vibe, and I just wasn't attracted.
Evil garbage man Jesus said people do look down on them. I honestly, I don't get it.
I'm going to assume
there's garbage people in more high profile jobs.
Yeah, I'm going to assume, Josh, that people who might assume a garbage man to be, that kind of a job, or I guess where I'm going with this is maybe the assumption is that they're dirty.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always had such an appreciation for people with jobs like that. Like, a buddy of mine's a contractor, and he'll tell me stories about some of the crappy things clients will say to him or kind of demean them. And can you imagine, well, then you do it. Having those skills, I mean, both you and I admit we're not very handy.
No.
Having those skills is so impressive to me.
Me too.
Yeah, I always grew up respecting that kind of stuff quite a bit, Josh, because of my dad doing that.
Your dad does it?
Yep.
And just, the exhaustion of, I mean, and I know this may be silly to people who do this for a living, but I get impressed by the fact you're hauling all the materials and tools in, and then you got to clean up and take it all out. I mean, even that's a day's worth of work for somebody like me, much less doing the actual job.
One of my fondest memories of broadcasting over the last 5-6 years or so was when we asked Janelle Klein, who's sitting here right now, we asked her, what's a job... What was the setup again, Janelle, when you insulted our fellow friend C. Willie Miles?
Oh, you don't have comedians. You didn't.
It was like, did we ask you just an unpopular... What's an unpopular opinion of your overrated...
Yeah.
But what you ended up saying was that I don't find stand-up comics very funny, right?
Yeah.
And then C. Willie Miles texts you later and says, we got beef or what?
Yeah.
You were just speaking your mind, just giving your opinion. So in that same vein, what is, again, admitting that it's wrong to judge people like this, what is an occupation to where when you hear someone does it for a living, you might think,
Honestly, I can't think of any, because I have had this thought many times to myself that I would say the vast majority of jobs I would be very bad at, really bad at.
Okay.
I think there are very few things I could do. And so when you say garbage man, I mean, anything like that. I think they do require skill. I think people have a tendency to think, oh, I could do that. That's easy until you try it.
Right.
And you're
Totally
this
agree.
Is there's way more to any job than you really think.
You can't think of any. That's fair. That's fair. I trust you're telling the truth because you're that type of a person. You would never unfairly judge someone just by what they do for a living.
Well, and think of it this way. How many times have you met someone that you probably think, oh, they're judging me because of what I do?
Oh, God, yes.
Right? Yes. And you think, I know you have a very different impression of me than the truth, but you're going to think that of me just because of my job. It's really kind of a dumb thing.
I thought of a good one. If people are texting in about it too. Janitors.
Yeah,
I definitely
was going to say that too.
So hard.
I had no respect for that until I got in trouble, had to do some community service, and what I did was I helped a janitor And I thought, okay, this is awful. I would never want to do this again. Like, it is a really hard work. Yeah.
Oh, and then I'd have to deal with barf, and then I would barf, and then I'd have to clean up both puke piles. It'd be just terrible.
Did you see a pile of barf and then you barfed?
I probably would.
Oh, you're saying you never were a janitor. You're saying if you were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
I was a janitor for a while. When I was a young guy, I took that gig. Here's the thing is, like earlier I said, just off the top of my head, in the past, I have unfairly judged someone when I heard they were a lawyer. Oh, sleazy. I've unfairly judged people when I've heard they were a car salesman. And I think, Josh, now that I'm rattling it around in my brain, I think from watching television when we were kids, there was always some kind of a jab at lawyers and car salesmen for being sleazy on all the sitcoms. So I had that assumption in mind, and that's probably where it comes from. And again, the garbage man being judgmental about that occupation or janitor, I think the assumption is that they're dirty. Because if you watch sitcoms, television shows, the janitor's always kind of some slovenly looking guy, you know what I mean? The garbage man is usually some filthy looking guy. So I think a lot of it comes from just what we watched on television and things like that. Yeah, go ahead.
Pest Control Jesus said people look down on his job until they have a mouse problem, then suddenly become my best friend. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, we just had you guys over, a pest control company, because we've got another mouse infestation. And
your place sucks.
I know it does.
Yeah.
I told you guys off the air yesterday, I was, Janelle, do you know what peeing is?
Yeah.
Okay, I was doing that.
You were peeing?
Yeah.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, I felt the drop in my head, and I thought, oh my God, I have such a powerful stream, I peed on my own head. I was going to write it down in my diary. What a day.
Oh, God, well, help us. What was it?
And I looked up. It was my ceiling is now leaking. So that's kind of fun.
Oh, no.
I hate your house.
I know, me too. Somebody asked Ashley the other day if I'm embellishing some of these stories. No, I leave some off the... Right, Ashley, you can attest to it.
Yep.
You've seen it. I leave some of them even out. But we've got mice, and the pest control guy showed up. You might as well have been wearing a cape.
Yeah.
When he showed up. Because my wife will put up with anything, but mice are the one thing she can't handle. And we hear them. We hear them at night. They're right above our...
Just taunting you.
Our bedroom.
See, I thought that was fun. When I was a kid and we had mice all over the house, I thought it was fun to hear them at night. And then I'd set up the traps, and you hear the snap. I had fun with it. Anyway, back to this garbage man. And it started a conversation on how we unfairly base people. It started a conversation on how we unfairly judge people based on what they do for a living. This garbage man went on social media, because you got to go on social media, and talked about how he gets ghosted by women when they find out he collects garbage for a living. Here's what he said, and then we got to take a break in a couple minutes. We can get back into this. We got to take a break here shortly. He said on social media, more often than not, when I reveal that I'm a garbage man, I get ghosted. They probably think, okay, garbage man, uneducated, etc., etc. I have a bachelor's degree in accounting. I was a bookkeeper for 10 plus years before I switched over to this. It's a city job. I make 6 figures.
Damn.
Ayo.
I have a good vacation package, good health insurance for life, a pension for life that allows me to retire when I'm around 50.
Dude.
I'm literally set for life, but once some people hear garbage man, they don't respect me or something.
Well, maybe that's a good thing, so he can weed out the people that he doesn't want to be with.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There you go. Wow, that sounds like a pretty solid gig.
Yeah.
Yeah, holy cow.
I thought I knew, but I didn't know all of the bonuses there that the man listed. Now, I'm sure that's not everybody, but...
And we've talked about this before, too. I bet garbage man is one of those jobs you don't really take it home with you, you know? It's not you're stressing about, there's going to be more garbage tomorrow. I'm so anxious. You just you get it done and you go home.
I hope so. I don't know for sure.
Yeah,
but.
I don't know. I mean, I don't get some of the stuff that's being said here. But why you disrespect this or that job? I mean, they're like legit jobs, and I don't know. I mean, it doesn't seem... If you like somebody, you meet somebody, you really like them, and then that you find out they do whatever this job is, some of the ones that have been mentioned. I mean, would that really change your opinion?
Oh, no.
Unless it was something horrible. And, I'm not trying to, start a whole thing. A few people have texted in politicians, and I got to say that's one too. Where if somebody said they're a politician,
How did I not think of that right away?
I might have. That's something that maybe I'd wonder, right?
Yeah.
And I have a couple friends.
Oh,
that
I do
are.
more than wonder.
I have, and so it's like, yeah, that's probably the biggest one right now.
You're right.
Not to start a thing, but just being completely honest. If somebody said, "Hey, I'm a senator," or "I'm a whatever,"
a political advisor,
something like that, I might kind of look at him a little different.
I know it's unfair, but
it is unfair, and it's not.
But 99% of them make me sick just the sight of them.
Yeah,
I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry to go ahead with that, and I'm also not trying to start a thing, but that's just the way I feel.
Yeah, I've asked that a couple times to people. Like, I can't imagine figuring out what you want to do with your life, and you're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go into politics. What? No.
I can't imagine.
Well, back in the day, it was. Well, anyway, it's not starting a thing. But yeah, I mean, one friend, I didn't even ask which. I found out somebody else told me what party he was for. I just didn't care one way or the other. Didn't want to know. But I did look at him different at first, wondering, like, what he was going to be about.
Yeah. I have friends where I've known them a long time, and I couldn't really tell you what they do for a job.
I've got a couple of them.
Yep.
They're always on vacation, too. It's
They're
like,
the rich ones.
What are you doing?
We've brought this up before. Like, a friend of mine has a theory. We developed this theory that if somebody says what they do for a living and they give you a little synopsis and you don't understand it at all, they're making a lot of money.
Yep.
Yes.
The word consultant
100%.
is in there somewhere.
I'm the same way, Janelle. We generally, when I say we, I mean my circle of friends, we generally don't really talk much about our jobs. Yeah. I mean, my closest friends, of course, I know what they do. Well, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I don't know all of them. I mean, I'll tell you the worst where I was really embarrassed. This was many years ago. I had been dating a gal for around 3 years, and I ran into an old high school buddy at the bar. How you doing? I told him, well, I'm doing this and that, and I'm dating this gal. Oh, yeah? Well, how old is she? Well, she's this years old. And the guy says, what does she do for a living? And I had to look him dead in the eye and say, I have no idea.
I understand. I have a family member who's told me over and over and over what they do. I know whatever it is, they're very successful. They're headhunted. They bounce from big company to big company. And I have no clue. It's something in retail.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I mean, I knew that this gal, I could drive you to the building she worked in, and I knew that she sat at a desk and there was a computer in front of her. That's as far. But I guess she and I just didn't talk about that kind of stuff. And I think a lot of people put way too much emphasis on what each other do for a living. We all know friends that are so obsessed with, he's the CEO of this and that. She makes this amount of money. Don't care. I really do not care. But some people are totally focused on that.
No, you're right. Yeah, that's something I've never really cared one way or the other.
Does not do a damn thing for me. I don't care if you ain't got a pot to piss in or you got $10 million. It's about who you are. And I'm not trying to be cheesy, but that's what interests me is the kind of person you are.
Right. And I'm not trying to be cheesy either.
Right.
I'm actually just going to say something similar because you can be a good person in a crappy job and a crappy person in a good job. It doesn't really matter. I mean, one way or the other, it's more about the person.
Ladies, go out there and fold the garbage man.
Yeah, you like him no matter what he does.
Do what you gotta do.
KARE 11's Janelle Klein.
This is the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Yeah, Janelle's here. And she said, look, let's wrap this up in 5 minutes because I gotta go. And we will, Janelle, we will. We were having a little conversation. We're all guilty. We're all guilty, once in a while at least, of judging someone on what they do for a living. Here's a listener who's admitting an unfair judgment that they've made based on one's occupation. They say, the guy who cleans the biffies. I always wonder, what the F you got to do so wrong in life to get that job? He admits that was an unfair judgment that he's made a time or two. And then we get also a text message from someone who does pump out the portable toilets. And they say, we're always talked down to, and people think it's so gross and so bad. I don't touch anything. And then he goes after me here, Cubby, by saying, it's the people that use them that are nasty. You calling me nasty because I got to duck into the portable toilet once in a while?
What about the smell, though? Doesn't that get you?
It's horrible.
You get used to it.
No.
I guess they do make pretty good nose plugs now.
You don't need nose plugs. You just get used to it.
Yeah, you go nose blind.
I don't mind porta potties at all. My wife refuses to use one.
That's so crazy to me.
She would pee her pants before she'd ever use it. I don't understand it. She will not use it. You know, there's been plenty of people that have texted in on the other way that said they have a job that people go, oh, wow. They're very impressed. And then they feel the pressure. Like a couple engineers texted in and said, you know, everyone thinks we're going to be the best, we're going to solve every math problem in the world. And sometimes we don't know the answer. And there's a lot of pressure there.
Oh, yeah. I have a buddy who's a rocket scientist. Anytime he makes even the smallest mistake, he just gets roasted.
Oh, I'll bet.
We're like, okay, dude, you can put something in space, but you can't get the grill fired up? Real great, man. Thank you.
Or I have a friend who's a lawyer, and people are like, oh, wow, a lawyer. That's pretty impressive. But he's a trademark attorney, and then they lose all interest.
I can see that.
That does sound boring.
Yeah, they're picturing like a Ryan Pasiga, you know, like a stud in the courtroom swaying a jury. But he's, no, I'm just helping people write up patents.
Trademark attorney, Z's. All right.
Oh, I thought of one.
What's that?
If somebody said they were an influencer or like a TikTok star, I might look at them a little.
You saw my facial expression when you said it.
I'm looking at you differently.
That's a great example of a gig I can't help but instantly think you're a douchebag. And again, maybe 6 or 7 times out of 10 I'm wrong, but that is the thought that would instantly come to mind. You're an influencer, F you. That's what would come to mind for me.
Oh my gosh,
I would think something similar.
And I've seen like a day in the life of an influencer. Like, it's not what you think. No, it's exactly what I thought it was. You don't do anything.
Oh, I've never liked the term content creator.
Oh,
either.
yeah.
Oh no, the hardest thing you have to do that day is review the free package of amazing goods you got in the mail.
See, I haven't experienced a content creator just yet. I'll have to get mad at them at a later date, I guess.
Like, somebody's profile might say that.
Okay.
Or I always thought voiceover artist was a bit pretentious.
Ooh. No. Boy, that sounds fancy. Okay, more texts on this subject of judging people by what they do for a living. Here's a listener who's going to go ahead and do that. He says, being a blue-collar worker my whole life, I kind of look down at people who, quote, work from home. He says, it's like, yeah, okay, hard life. LOL. A lady in our listening audience who works at a prison texted in to say...
I could never.
No.
She texted in to say, I've noticed men seem to be intimidated when they learn I work at a prison. And you know what? They should be.
Yeah, I would be.
Oh, I think you got to be a pretty big badass. And that's my experience watching Oz and Mayor of Kingstown. I could never, ever handle that job.
Yeah, prison break.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
I'd get my ass kicked so quick. I'd be shanked on the first day.
Gym teacher? Oh, don't even bring up gym teachers to my buddy who's a math teacher. Don't even bring them up. They just roll the ball out. That's all they do, day after day. They just roll it out. Here's a listener who says, one more here. One guy did text it and say, I'm a gym teacher, and people break his balls constantly. They say he doesn't do dick, but dribble a basketball with 7-year-olds, okay?
I remember they were pretty disrespected back in the day. Substitute teacher more so.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a teacher. Substitute teacher.
Jesus, were we brutal to the substitute teachers.
No, I feel so bad.
We were brutal to the substitute teachers, but we always saved a little bit of hate for the bus driver.
Oh.
The substitute teacher, the only ones I remember us being nice to were the ones substituting for the scariest teacher at school.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that was always a good day.
We had one particular nun where if you messed with the substitute, you were dead. So we would never mess with her substitute, ever.
If our bus drivers would have just picked us up and thrown us out of the moving bus, it would have been 100% justified. One more here. And maybe someone can look this up. I don't know what this is. A listener says they are a meteorologist, and people confuse that for meteorologist, and then they judge him because he sucks at predicting the weather. A metrologist. Have you heard of that, Janelle?
It's like somebody that studies something with measurements or something like that.
Yeah, they study and practice the science of measurement. What the heck is that?
Really?
Wow.
There's like a whole job for that?
Well, you know how
that sounds stressful.
We know the science of measurement. You start at the beehole and you go an inch past the tip.
Oh, my gosh.
That's the secret. Is that more anxiety than hair Jesus?
I believe so.
I think he does that.
Yeah. He's the guy. He's a metrologist. Well, that's very interesting to me because I get challenged by my tape measure. You know what I mean?
I got buddies that make fun of me because I'm like, it's 4.5 and then 2 little tiny lines past that.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I get impressed by the measurement stuff.
Yes.
What do you mean in a fourth, in a 16th or 3/30 seconds?
Doesn't apply. It doesn't compute with me.
No, me neither.
I'm the same guy. You got a couple little dashes, and then there's one that's a little bit bigger. Yeah, it's right there.
But it's not. It's not the real big one. It's the one kind of in between
sort
the middle one. And, I get made fun of and very anxious when I have to measure something.
Toughest gig in town, though, hands down, television star.
Oh, God. Well, I wouldn't know.
You got anything happening, Janelle Klein? Anything coming up, or are you just doing your thing?
Let me think. I mean, we'll have the Super Bowl before too long, so that'll be fun.
So does that mean that
you're going?
Uh-huh. Yep.
You will be going to this year's Super Bowl.
Yep.
Okay, awesome. Next time you come in, we can maybe get into it more.
Yeah.
But
any teams you expect to see there?
I don't know if I want to go out on that limb, but I don't know about that.
Who will you be working for?
Usually NFL Network.
Okay, and it's in New Orleans.
It's in New Orleans.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And if I remember correctly, you a couple years ago covered the college title game. Yes. I think it was in New Orleans, and you had a bunch of girlfriends. You guys had a good time.
It's really fun. Yeah. Yep. I was just down there for the incident on New Year's Day, and they're already gearing up. You know, they had the Sugar Bowl at that time, but they're already gearing up with Super Bowl plans. And it's a great city to host any event.
Maybe by the time you come back, and I know we're running late here, I'm sorry, but next time, maybe by the time you come back, maybe we can talk to our sales department, although Ashley doesn't like the salespeople.
No, not at all. She made that very real clear. Job.
Maybe we can put together a win a trip to New Orleans with Janelle Klein contest.
There you go.
For the Super Bowl. But it will not include tickets to the game or a hotel room.
That's usually how those go, right?
Yeah, right.
But that's great. I had one more thought on New Orleans, and I lost it.
Are you going to go to any of the celebrity parties?
That's usually the fun part.
Will DJ Diesel be out there? Shaq doing his DJ thing?
Possible.
All right,
possible.
cool.
There's always a very funny list of B and C list celebrities.
Yeah.
Pauly Shore's going to host a tasting event of some sort.
It's Urkel. Oh, hi.
Are they here because they're a celebrity, or they just bought a ticket?
Right. I feel sad for you now, though, Janelle, because of the Bengals not being in it.
I know.
You could have had a love story.
I mean,
were you saying she could have met Joe Burrow?
Yes.
She loves Joe Cool.
We're still talking here. It's we get, you know how we are, Josh, when we get to talking.
Or a few yentas running around.
I know.
Can't stop.
We'll cover the trip to New Orleans with Janelle when you visit us next. Thanks, Janelle.
That sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Got a text here from a young lady who wanted to say happy birthday to the strongest, bravest, and sweetest man she's ever known, Dad, Grandpa, Bill, who she said is one in a million. I envy that type of love from your kids. I never get that.
Poor guy.
They're always looking up nursing homes for me. And only the poorly rated ones, too. Never the good ones. They're already trying to ship me away. And Dana, I know you have a shout out before we leave.
Yeah, I wanted to shout out a happy 40th birthday to my lovely fiance Amber. Can't wait to celebrate with you tonight.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show podcast is sponsored by Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. New episodes drop each weekday. If your podcast platform has ratings, go ahead and give us 5 stars and maybe give our enemies 1. Thanks, and here's a word from our sponsor. Dana here for Standard Heating and Air Conditioning. We all know January is one of the coldest months of the year, and not that cheery, fun kind of Christmas cold. Nah, just the dark, dank January cold. Standard Heating and Air Conditioning is well aware of this, and that's why they're offering $40 off a furnace tune-up to keep you warm during the Minnesota cold. The last thing you want is to be huddled around an iffy space heater you bought from some shady targeted ad. Oh, and how about this? Standard Heating and Air Conditioning has now been helping Minnesotans for over 95 years. So book your appointment now at standardheating.com. That's standardheating.com.